recording correctly because I put it in horizontal, and then I forgot that Pandora will let me keep playing my music. So I was like jamming out to Sia. She's like, I want to leave you better. She's, So anyway, I feel like that's like our anthem right now. Um, but I have to tell you that all of a sudden it was just like my phone just did this like scatter energy that was like really intense, and it started flipping around, and I don't know what's going on. So I guess we'll wait and see. Whenever the whoever comes on here first, I'll make sure that it's in horizontal. We've had things before. Remember one of our readings was like that. I don't know how many episodes ago, where we had to go and we didn't have to, but we were pulled to go into um, I almost said prophet mode. Interesting. Um, Not prophet mode. Podcast mode. Thank you, Spirit. So anyway, welcome to Sacred Sunday, episode 8. This is very exciting. I was looking at my calendar and I'm like, wow, we've done like we have 7 episodes under our belt, you guys. It's pretty exciting. Um, and today it says prayers, your prayers answered. And the reason why that is I got this vibe from Spirit that they really wanted me to go live and answer questions. So the first time I did this, or was it? Yeah, the first time I did this, we did that. We answered questions. We did live questions. And I wasn't sure if that was something that was going to keep going, but here we are on the 8th episode, and that's what we're doing. So a lot of different things were coming through before I started this, and no one's here yet, so obviously I'm like, we're not going to ask any questions. However, even if no one showed up, Spirit would give us the answers, you know what I mean? So like if no one shows up today, it's okay, because they're going to tell us, what we need to hear. Oh, and before we get started, I know some of you who've been with me a long time, which, by the way, welcome. If you're new here, welcome to the Magical Medium channel. I am Tallulah Kelly. I am a magical medium. I'm a telepathic medium, but I kind of have everything. Sometimes I see things, sometimes I hear things, sometimes it's always different. So when I opened the portal today, there were so many energies and entities. I literally like opened like all portals and dimensions, that I was like, if anybody wants to talk to anybody, and every Sacred Sunday so far, we've been putting in hashtags, but this one, they didn't want me to put anything in. So that leads me to believe that this is more for our tribe members or people who happen to find the short, because I did put a short out like an hour ago or something for the channel. But anyway, for those of you who are new here, I live in the Pacific Northwest on the Olympic Peninsula, and there are a lot of magical trees. And when I see that a sacred soul has fallen, Spirit will allow me to harvest some of their wood. And this is a piece of cedar. They're not having me put the flash on, so I don't know, I guess it doesn't want to be seen. But they had me harvest some cedar. But almost every tree I've ever harvested cedar from were between 300 and 400 years old that fell. Okay, so that'll just put it into perspective for you. So I'm going to cleanse the space. Man, I really in these moments wish we had smell-o-vision. So thank you, Spirit, for cleansing this sacred space. This portal is now open. It is secure. You are free to ask questions when you come in. I'm almost like, what do you want me to do until then? I feel like, well, because I've been having such a good time. I've been listening to so much music. Like before this started, there were just so many, I'm just knocking the energy out of the deck from the last time it was used. There was just so many songs that were coming through, and a lot. Ooh, when I look down, it's 444. So we'll take that as an angel number for the collective today for Sacred Sunday, which is also the number 12, which is also the number 3. So maybe these numbers are significant to you. Maybe you're seeing them. This came out, so I'm going to put that there and see if, okay, and this came out. Oops. So I'm going to put this there. It was upside down, but then the card fell upright. And so I'm going to leave it like that. Let's see if there's any more. Nope, that's it right now. So, one of the songs that came through was, I forget the name of the song now. It's like I saw nothing. All I saw was 2017 remastered, but the song was from Suzi Quatro from the 70s and like early 80s era. So, I don't know if that means anything to you, but I want, and just so you know, Suzi Quatro, though she was a phenomenal musician, she was also known as Leather Tuscadero in Happy Days. So maybe that means something to you. I don't know, but I think it's interesting because we've got like this like kind of little princess goddess energy, and she's got her fairy wand here, but she was upside down. It's the Two of Wands. She was upside down. Also, I feel like she's almost looking back, like she keeps checking. The visual I got is that she keeps checking back, like to make sure that her wings are there. That's so interesting. It's like you're like, I've got these two sacred staffs. I got them, but I'm not flying. Why am I like, look, it's like she's flying, but she's not very high off the ground, but it's in reverse. So I don't know what that means. Because then look at this one. This is like kind of intense too. The Five of Chalices. It's like she's like looking off into the abyss. Ooh, let's read the can I just also say that today in real time is June 29th, and it is the last Sunday of Pride Month. And I know that there are some people who are having parades today or having festivals. And so I send you my love and support. The angels are with you today. That's so interesting. They have me put that out there. Also on Lula's Labyrinth, my other channel, they had me post this little shorts that I took recently. I was in this little town in the Puget Sound. We like to go and shop in this area. They're called Silverdale, and we stopped in Poulsbo on the way, and it's this cool little old Viking town. And as we're driving through, I'm seeing like pride flags everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that. I love that this old little Viking town is like honoring, pride. And so maybe you're looking for somewhere new to move. Maybe you're looking for somewhere to, ooh, I just got the chills. But I really did not think about taking my camera out. Spirit kind of like pulled me to take my camera out. And so I just started shooting. And I don't know who this is for, but I really feel like it's for someone, because I even said, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've been to that area so many times, but I've never been to the downtown. I've seen pictures, but never like been like drove through it like we did. And even I said to Spirit, like, is this where I should live? You know what I mean? I'm like, this is such a cool little spot. I'm like, I feel like I should live here. And anyway, so I just felt a real magical vibe there. Also, their bakery is like, I think like the 11th like in the world, like in terms of like good reviews and like just how people like rave about it and stuff. Because this area where I live is a very Norwegian influence. So maybe you're a Norwegian, or maybe Spirit's trying to like tell you to find a place that makes you happy, to move closer to somewhere that makes you feel more at home. I'm serious. I don't know if this is like a group reading or this, let's put it this way. The way that all this energy came in before I started this, I thought you guys were going to be chomping at the bit. Like I thought it was going to be like, we were going to be flooded with people today. It was really interesting. And then it was like, I started and it was almost like, it was like silence, like no one was here. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what's happening? I'm like, what's going on? And actually, you know what? I might even want to check my stuff just to make sure. No, it's good. So interesting. It's just so interesting. You know me, I go by like whatever Spirit like tells me to do. So, it could be too that whoever you are, that maybe you couldn't be here in the live today. And so you don't even need to like, this is the thing people don't understand with like what we do. Ooh, I was trying to go lighter and it went darker. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, because I heard you're sifting through the shadow. Got it. I hear you, Spirit. Okay. Um, So even though you may not be present right now, it's like your higher self is present. Does that make sense? Like, so you don't have to necessarily be here to be getting these messages or to be receiving this, story. And welcome for whoever just joined us, welcome, welcome, welcome. I have a feeling it's a sacred sister, but anyway, and thank you for the like. That's always good. That's good for that. I knew it. I was going to say, I think it's Jessica. Hi, Jessica. No one's here. So I don't know if this reading's for you, dude, or if this is like for somebody else. To be honest, I don't feel like this is for you, but I feel like I was just starting to say that because like we almost like jumped right into this, and the title is Prayers Answered. Also, Jessica, can you tell me, is it viewed horizontally to you right now? Oh no, dude, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. It's totally fine. Like you don't have to be here on time. I'm the only one that needs to be here on time. Don't you ever worry. If you don't show up either, that's okay. I know that whatever is meant to be will be. Is it showing in, yeah, it looks good. It's horizontal. Okay, cool. Because I was saying at the beginning of this that my phone started to go a little fucking crazy at the beginning. Like that one time that we went to a podcast format, it started doing that. And so, but then it went back to normal and I'm like, what is happening? My phone was kind of like spinning around. I was trying to turn off the music. Sia, a song from Sia came on, but just there was so much music that was happening before this started, you guys, like so much that if spirit calls me to it, I'll take screenshots and put them in the community section or the post section. Also, for those of you who are new here or those of you who don't know, there is a new feature on this channel and it says my community or the community or something. And when you click on that, you can actually post whatever you want, whatever you want. And as long as you're a subscriber, you can post. And obviously, if it's something that I don't feel is like whatever, then, you know, I would take it down. But feel free to like market yourself, you know, like let people know like who you are and like what you're doing. And introduce yourself as part of the tribe member, however you want to do it. Yeah, I know. I'm like, so many cool things are like really happening. So getting back to this reading. So at the beginning, I got the vibe from spirit when I was setting this up that this was going to be like a full on, like kind of like Q&A, so to speak. I'm going to open my window. It just got like really hot in here. Look at you, Jessica. You hotsy totsy. You're bringing in the heat. Also the, our little scrying wanted to come in, so if you guys want me to turn the ball, like, or if you want me to move it anywhere, you just let me know if you feel like there's a message in there for you. Oh, I felt like that's where it wanted to be. I'm also out of nowhere, I'm feeling like this really strong wicked vibe, like Wizard of Oz. Drink some water if you have some. And a fly just got in here. Hold on one second, you guys. Oh, it's 102 there already. Ugh. Jessica lives in the desert. Hold on, you guys. I have to go shut. I know what's happening. I forgot to shut the door. Hold on. That is much better. We're going to get a nice breeze now. Oh, thank goddess. I'm like, it's hot as Hades in here. Like, out of nowhere, it just got really hot. But also, it's like that time of day where the sun's starting to come over on this part of the house. Okay, so, all right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very hot here. Yeah, I don't know how you handle that. I mean, you may like it, though. She's like, 102 already. Very hot here, which is actually colder than August. Yeah, I don't even... I know July is like this week. Where I live in the Pacific Northwest, like right now, I'm sitting here complaining about it being hot, but Jessica, it's only 72 here. It's only 72. But, you know, I live in my tiny home. So... you know, 72 with the sun and no clouds, just sun beating on my tiny home. It literally, like 72 feels more like 85, 90. You'd have on a parka. That's hilarious. No, you know what? It's so interesting though. There's no clouds right now, so it's just straight sun. So the breeze is beautiful, and you can see the breeze in the background on the drapes. The breeze is lovely. The breeze is nice and like it's chilly but not cold, and then it's hot, so the energy's good. I feel like whoever this reading is for is like, can you shut the fuck up and finish my reading? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jessica. You'd really like it. You wouldn't need a parka. You'd love it. Then that's what I'm saying. I live in a dreamy place. I love it. I love it. It's just I don't have a shelter, so I'm just like straight up in the fucking sun, you know. I have one side that is like kind of like an old barn, you know, whatever. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's nice until right about now. And from now until the end of the day, it's just straight up sun. But I really wanted to shut the door because, you know, it's so beautiful here today and it's midday on Sunday. So it's just the traffic can get really fucking noisy. So I had to shut the door. Um, so okay, Spirit. And let's see, do we want to ring any bells? Yes. Mind your ears. Um, I saw 1511, so that might be an angel number for you guys, but also I saw it as a time. Because for the longest time I kept the military time on my phone for angel numbers while I was studying them, and quite found it quite fascinating. Especially when it was like 2222 on my phone. I'm like, I love that. But so when I saw it, I saw 311. So I don't know if that means anything to somebody, like a time, like 311. It could be, I literally just saw an apartment number. So, like, if you're trying to figure out who this reading is for, so what we started out by saying is that this card was in reverse. But if it's in reverse, then they'd be looking this way, because I was just going to say they were looking the other way. But I feel like there's some interesting things here. I know Spirit will pop us back in once I read the book. Ooh, the candle's getting a little wonky. I love it. Thanks for anchoring today, Jessica. I really appreciate it. So this is actually the Two of Wands. So you didn't see it. Oh, your ex-best friend lives in 311 and really rough times. Okay, so maybe this is for you. So maybe this is for you, dude. That's so fucking awesome. Maybe this is, and you know what? These kind of messages, I feel like they're really for everybody. You know what I mean? Because, Anna says a lot of times, she's like, I watch them all because she's like, I feel like I always get something. So let's see what this says. This is one of my favorite decks. So earlier I was talking about the LGBTQ community, and what I wanted to say about that is that today is the last weekend day of Pride Month, but also this particular deck, the Star Spinner Tarot, the author and designer is openly gay, and he did something that I don't think any other tarot reader or designer has ever done. And he made every 1718 he made every lover's card that he could think of. So it's not just the lovers of a man and a woman that we're used to seeing. It's like he's got a lover's card in here for two men, two women. You know what I mean? Like, he really took the time when he was creating this deck to make it special like that. So if you are in the LGBTQ community or you align with it in any way, I feel like this is kind of like a wink wink as well. I feel like this is why Spirit wanted me to bring this deck out. But also, I love reading the book from this deck because, as you know, I love to read tarot, but I never really say I'm a tarot reader. Sometimes Spirit will have me hashtag tarot reader, but that's usually just to get somebody else to, that goes to that hashtag. Drink some water. Stay hydrated, you guys. Stay hydrated, especially for our Northern Hemisphere family with the summer and the heat and all that. Stay hydrated and protected from the sun. We want to get the vitamin D. It's good to, it's actually, it's really healthy to go outside without any sunscreen for about 20 minutes. Usually walking around is better than just laying there, sizzling in the sun. But then you want to cover up because it's good to get the vitamin D. You can get all the vitamin D you need for your body in about 20 minutes sitting in the sun. It's good to get it from your fruits and vegetables, but you know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of us that, we live in certain areas in the world where we only get summer for a few months. So, we get that deficiency and we really need it. Okay, so since I pulled this card in reverse, I'm going to read it first because I just love this author and they are a true tarot person and they really nail it every time. So it says, you are caught. Hold on. I forgot my glasses. Luckily, they're right here. Okay, let's see if we can get this. Okay, it says, you are caught at an impasse. Decision making is difficult because you are still much too precious about your inspirations. If you do not fan those sparks, they will dwindle and dissipate. You must not lose out on grand opportunities because you are afraid of making the wrong choice. Now, is that aligning with you, Jess? Is that aligning with anybody? When I was putting this together, like I said, so many different songs and music was coming through, but one of the ones that kept playing, and Spirit had me play it again because they wanted me to take a screenshot for one of my little videos, was that song from the Smash musical called Rewrite Your Story. And I feel like this, and just because I know you're a writer, Jessica, like it could be very literal. Like maybe there's a book or a story. I know that you write a lot of stuff. So like maybe there's something that they're like, just rewrite it. Like, maybe, because this happens a lot, right? Like when you start writing something, you may have a clear concept, but over time, it changes. That's why the best novels, take years to write, because the person writing the novel changes, society changes, like everything changes. When I started my novel series, I mean, like my mom was alive, you know what I mean? And recently I went to look at my books again and I was like, oh my gosh, I mean, as dark as this may sound to somebody else, I'm like, oh, now I can change things, like, because my mom's gone. Because I didn't want to say my mom was dead in the books. I felt like it was like a creepy foretelling, you know what I mean? Or foreshadowing, was that the thing they say, writers? But something like, now I'm like, that's so crazy because it can literally change my whole fucking story. You know what I'm saying? So what did you say, Jessica? Yes, I've been putting off making videos. My guides have been showing me to do. So different. I do need to rewrite 1 or 2 books. Okay, so this could be for you to rewrite the story. Also, like I said, it was in reverse. And so take that as the visual. Like, I mean, she's facing this card, but she's upside down. And also I kind of feel like in a way, this feels like your inner child, because it's more of like a young, like this, it's like the maiden mother crone. And I feel like this is your maiden, this is your mother. And then like, I feel like, let's see if spirit wants me to pull another card. Because like now, it's hard being in our crone. Oh, look at that. And it was upside down. So this is the devil in reverse. So when we rewrite the story, though, I feel like I do kind of want to go like this, because this is how they were, because we'll get to that card. Because I was thinking like, this kind of felt like maiden mother, and then I'm like, whoa, the devil. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Welcome, welcome. And if you just signed on, oh, and it was 2222. We were just talking about that. If you just signed on, today we are taking questions. So if you have a question for spirit, that's why the title is prayers, your prayers answered. So like if you have a prayer you've been putting out there, but nothing's coming back, or if you have a question for spirit, but nothing's showing up, that's kind of the vibe I got. Hold on 1 second. I got to get something. Oh, you know what? I think they're in my purse. I'm having a hard time reading. So I went to grab my other glasses, but they're like they're straining my eyes. Okay. So when we look at it this way, it's kind of interesting, because the inner child you is like looking towards the future. Like they still believe in magic and miracles. They're good. But I feel like this is you, like this is like some form of you that is like looking into the darkness and the abyss. And I don't know what's in their hand, but it kind of looks like a knife. Do you see that? Hold on, let me get better lighting. You see that? So that's kind of interesting. I just really wanted you to look at it up close. So let's get to that 5 of chalices. Let's get to that. And that one, when I pulled it, it was upside down, but then it fell upright, and I got the vibe from spirit, like to, keep it that way. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new here, I am Tallulah Kelly. I'm the magical medium. If you're coming back, welcome back, you guys. We're taking your answers, or we're taking questions. So if you'd like to ask spirit a question, if you have a prayer that you've been putting out and it hasn't been answered yet, and you're looking for some guidance, feel free to write in the comments. I don't know I think you may have to be a subscriber to write in the comments, but I don't know how it works, because I've been subscribing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But feel free to, if you have a question. If not, you're welcome to be here. We're working with Jessica right now. That's, what's so funny, Jessica, is I was like, I don't know who this is for. I'm like, maybe this is for you. And then when the 311 thing came in, that's when I love doing this work the most, because it's like spirit's never gonna, like, you know what I mean? Like, even if I don't know, they're gonna tell me, so it's all good. Okay, so let's see what the upright says. It says, you have gone... Oh, song came up. Do you believe in magic in a young girl's heart, how the music can free her whenever it starts, and it's magic. Oh wait, what is it? If the music is groovy, makes me feel happy like an old time movie. I love it. That's fucking awesome. That just came on the radio, Jess. That's awesome. Okay, so it says you have gone to great lengths to pursue that which you love, and too many things have gone wrong. The Five of Chalices indicates that your passions have yielded sharp disappointment and regret. A once beloved thing has soured. Ooh, I just heard it says has soured, but I saw sourced, so I don't know what that means. That's interesting. Do you cut and run, or do you strengthen your resolve to carry on? Oh my gosh. Was that part of your question, Jessica? Because that's kind of intense. It says, a once beloved thing has soured. Do you cut and run, or do you strengthen? So I'm going to read the reverse because I saw it in both ways. So let's see what the reverse has to say. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so funny. I just turned the book upside down. Okay, so just so you know, I've been minor fasting since Friday. And yesterday I got a hair up my ass to just fucking get shit done that needed to get shit done. Jessica knows, we were talking last night. But like I literally like just cleaned the fuck out of my house. I like worked outside. I mean, to the point where I just kept going before I knew it was almost 8 o'clock, and I'm like, holy shit. And I actually like went to bed at like 10 o'clock and turned everything off and went to sleep until like I woke up at 7:37 this morning, which is probably an angel number for us too. But anyway, I did have a few blueberries, but since Friday, all I've had is a handful of nuts and a handful of blueberries. So if I'm a little cuckoo, forgive me. I literally like laughed so hard when I just saw myself do that. But that's when I know I'm like, I need some food and I need to like ground. Okay, so the reverse says, everyone has disappointments in love and friendship, but you find yourself at a breaking point. You are emotionally drained and unable to reconcile your present weariness. Interesting. With the pursuit of those bonds you treasure. This card is a reminder that you can't change the past. No matter how painful, you must find a way to carry the lessons of the past with you. Seek forgiveness and move forward. Okay, Jessica, and I will not say anything unless you like, and it probably doesn't even need to be said unless you want it said, but so because I know you personally and you're a client who became a friend, or I don't know, vice versa, and I know so much, I literally just saw you writing a book. Like, I feel like, okay, so here's the story. This is the vibe I get. I feel like you think it's going to be like your children's books or like more fluffy stuff that's actually going to like bring you your fortune and like your whatever, but it's not. It's actually, and I didn't know, maybe you told me this and I don't remember, but or maybe you're not and they're telling you to, but I just saw like, it was like I saw everything in like 1 second. So I'm going to try and like kind of like pick this apart, but also be fragile with the way I'm talking in case you don't want me to share certain personal things. But what I saw was your kid's father. Okay, so I'll just say it like that. I saw your kid's father, and not his spirit, but I saw you like sitting. I literally saw you like, and even now I'm seeing you signing books in a bookshop. Like I'm seeing you signing books and all these other people coming up to you, sharing their stories of their tragedies. Because I remember, I'm like starting to get emotional. At this point, I've read for thousands of people. So many stories have come across my desk, so to speak, and in my orbit. And I'm going to tell you right now that I have not, like, I remember the first time you told me your story, and I think I may have even gasped, dude, didn't I? I feel like I was like, oh my God, it was, yeah. So I like saw your success is going to come from you writing the book about your story with your first husband and like your baby daddy. Like I saw you writing that, and I actually, it's so interesting that you just said a Lifetime movie, because that's like, I feel like it's something that will be made into a movie. I feel like it's something that's going to make you really fucking famous. And I know that it sounds bizarre, but for all the tragedy and the horrific, like everything that you went through, you know, when we are like, especially the light workers, I mean, some of, oh, I just got the chills. And he's here now, by the way, if you want to talk to him. He's here now if you want to speak with him. He just came in. But it's almost like to tell the story too, right? Because like he wasn't a monster. You wouldn't have been with him if he wasn't. So my whole body's in the chills right now. There are so many people out there that have not told their story that other people need to hear. And it's not just a Lifetime movie or a made for TV movie. You know what I mean? This isn't like, you know, do you remember when like Melissa Gilbert was like, and Valerie Bertinelli, they were like the queens of like made for TV, like trauma movies and like things like that. But I mean, and it's interesting that we've got the devil card. I mean, that's the even crazier part because we spoke about this before that like we know that your, you know, ex definitely had some darkness and some demons that were like driving the bus. So it's interesting because it's like maiden, mother, and then it's like there's not even a card for the crone yet. I have to come to believe he was in my life as someone who agreed to be born to do these things as part me too, as part of your life path. Absolutely. I think so too. And by the way, Jessica said she was in near tears. Yes, I saw this week. So so you saw you writing a book about it? Okay, because also I was going to say, or have you started, or both? And while you're doing that, I'm going to bring up the devil card. And again, it's like one of those that we kind of know, but I feel like I just got the chills. Like, no, we definitely need to read this. Was he a Sag, by the way? Because I kept wanting to go to Temperance. I know you're not a Sag, but, or maybe you have Sag in your moon or your sun or something, but I kept wanting to go to the Temperance, and it's right before the devil card. So I don't know if that means anything to you. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Oh my gosh, dude, when did I miss all this? Okay, so you said, I think I was reading something. Okay, so was it, I haven't wanted to protect others, right? Family. Oh, right. You know what though? Your sons are old enough now. My youngest son, he has blocked out everything that happened. Well, you know what though? But how is he going to heal? How will he ever move forward if he doesn't heal that? And maybe it's not time right this second, but he does need to to heal that. Oh, he was a Libra. Okay. So, I don't know what this Temperance, because you know I'm triple Sag, so I'm like it could be our connection. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to talk to me through that card. So, the devil was in reverse, and it says your penchant for self-restraint and discipline has become stifling, right? You just said it. You're trying to protect others. By the way, if you're new here or if you're just coming on, feel free to type out any question you have for Spirit today on Sacred Sunday going live. We're taking questions. We're taking questions from the audience today. And I called in so much, like there's so many cool, yeah, so feel free. Living father-in-law with cancer and heart issues, brother-in-law is in law enforcement, and the other siblings are all wonderful. Don't want to you don't want to pull them in. So you don't want to pull them. Okay, so listen, all of that is lovely, and I fucking love you. You know, I love you and I love your heart. But did you just hear that? Like, so you're basically saying, you just said a little while ago, you feel like he was put in your path for a reason, like to be part of your life path, but yet you're too concerned about, number one, he's dead. So, you know, and I get that. And I get that they may be in the third dimensional energy and whatever, but the tides are turning and things are shifting and changing. You have no idea how many lives you can change by writing this book. And you and I both know you're a prolific writer. Like, you are meant to write books in this lifetime. You are meant to help people. You are meant to heal. And there is no fucking way that you went through all of that. There is no way. He's showing up to support you. He's showing up to support you. He literally, Jessica just said, why is he showing up? Because her baby daddy who died is showing up, and it's because he doesn't want you to. He's literally saying, like, don't babysit their feelings. He just said, I don't know, I don't speak like that, but he just said, don't babysit their feelings. Like they, you know, for whatever reason, just like he was put into your life path, he was like drawn by demons and darkness and like this, and like to do all those horrific things he did to all of you guys, because he didn't just do it to you guys, right? Like he wasn't well. I don't know what he did to his family, but he literally just said, like, you're not the only people he did it to. You just did it to, like, it's because you and the kids in his mind, like, you belong to him. You were mine. He keeps saying they were mine. They were mine. So, like, but I get the vibe that he wasn't exactly an angel in other people's lives either. And this isn't for you to write. In fact, even if you like preface the book, like, or did a foreword thanking him and explaining your gifts and saying, like, he wants his story told, because he wasn't, it's like, because if you only told people the story of what he did and what happened, people would just think he's a criminal and mean and evil and whatever. But he was so much more than that. And the same with his sons. It's like they don't want any part of him, but yet his blood runs through their veins, whether they like it or not. And when I was getting ready for this earlier in this week, so much came through. And Billie Eilish came through when I was making the shorts for this, Birds of a Feather. And I almost feel like it's birds of a feather, we stick together, right? Like, so there's power in, I feel like, let's put it this way. The bottom line is, I feel like you're concerned about putting this book out to hurt people, and instead this book is actually going to heal everybody, because you get to tell the story. Oh, I just got the chills, dude. You get to tell the story from your perspective. You get to tell the story from your teachings, your spiritual, like, look at everything that's fucking happened. You're not the same fucking person. That's why she's upside down, but she's still looking towards the future. And that's why you're with your back to everybody in the abyss. But all of these spirits and all these energies are like, help us, help us. It's almost like they're crying for it. And I don't know what bird that is, but it feels like a raven or something. And it's like flying in to talk to you. So let me finish this from the devil. So it says, your penchant for self restraint and discipline has become stifling. Though you are dutiful and responsible, you have denied yourself joy and satisfaction in your day-to-day living. When good behavior is its own reward, it might be difficult to find motivation. It may also be that your pursuit of pleasure has taken a turn for the worse, and what began as a momentary release has developed into a bad habit. Wow. Okay, so a lot of things just came through on that one. And I want to sidebar with you this, like, another day or later today or something, because I feel a lot of things just came through there that I don't feel comfortable putting out. Okay. So that's really interesting, but maybe you know already. And I was reading, so I don't know if you said anything. Okay, you say I understand. Okay. And let me see if they want me to read. Do you want me to read any more from the book on any of the cards, upright or reverse? Okay, that's so interesting. That's really interesting. So let me see if they have, do we have any more cards that we want to pull with this reading for Jessica? So we just got the Prince of Swords, which is like the, gosh, what do they call it? Also, when I saw the Prince of Swords, I can't help but feel, and especially because I wanted to put the Prince of Swords over here, but it wanted to go this way. This is going to sound really bizarre, but I kind of feel like they're saying the Prince of Darkness, which is really fucking interesting, because I just binge watched the other day. I had a day to like do nothing, and because I knew I had a lot going on, and I had just had a lot going on, so I took a day to just fucking do nothing. And I've been wanting to binge watch Fallen forever. Right now on YouTube, Fallen 1, 2, and 3, all 3 movies are free. So if you have YouTube, you may want to watch them. They were kind of interesting. But it just was talking about the angels, and they were talking about Lucifer, and which was kind of interesting, because I don't have the same relationship with Lucifer that other people do. And I can see where fallen could be really misleading for some people. I don't want to say too much if you've never seen it or if you're going to watch it, but there are different, and Azazel, which is kind of funny because some people say that Azazel was Lucifer. Some people, you know what I mean? So it's just, but in my experience with the angels and the archangels and the fallen angels, I feel like it's just like your husband, right? Like everybody has a purpose. Every energy, every entity has a purpose. And maybe that's why they're trying to show me that, because when they did like go towards the dark end of Lucifer, I was kind of frustrated because I'm like, I just don't feel like that's true. I feel like if anything, like maybe if it's true that Lucifer, you know, interesting. I'm Buddhist, so my ideas don't match most. Interesting, right? I don't know if I've ever shown you my Om. When I turned away from religion, the only thing that kind of brought me back was Buddhism. And it's because of Buddhism that I started to look at the world in a completely different way and through a different lens and a different scope. Um, but I will say this, like I've been having like these sugar ants and I've done everything to like put them outside, you know, nicely and whatever. And recently I was like kind of frustrated. Well, not recently, in the last 2 days. And I've been killing them. And I know that sounds mean because they're so tiny and I feel like such a monster to kill such a tiny little thing. But I was like, dude, it's like nothing stops them. Like if you don't stop them, they won't stop. Like you have to, you know, and I tried to like get them to, so it's kind of interesting. And maybe that's what they're trying to show you too. Like, you know, there's one thing of being Buddhist, and I love that like the true Buddhist monks, like literally like they get upset if they walk on an ant. I mean, they really do, because they're just like they don't value their life above any others. And I feel like this is a metaphor for you right now because this all just came together. But sometimes you just got to kill an ant. I mean, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like they're being invasive, they're being intrusive, and like sometimes some have to die or some have to be sacrificed. And maybe that's like the metaphor for this situation. You probably will have people who will hate you. You will probably will have people who will be angry with you. You know what I mean? That's just part of life. But it's still your story. So you get to tell your story because it fucking happened to you. It's your story. You get to rewrite the story. That's why it kept coming up over and over and over. And if you're new here, welcome. I can't see you, but if you'd like to identify yourself and if you'd like to ask Spirit any questions, we're taking live questions today. I'm finishing up a reading for one of our tribe members, Jessica, but feel free to type in the comment section if you have a question for Spirit, or if you have a prayer that you would like to, or if you'd like to connect with Spirit in any way, or a family member that's crossed over. Right now, we're speaking with Jessica's family. What do you think of doing a video story time versus a book, or both? That's interesting. I saw story time, like out of everything that I saw from what you typed, I saw the story time. So it could be, but I kind of feel like it would be a really good book because there are a lot of people that let's just put it this way. I saw you at a book signing for it. So I guess maybe they're, you know how like like just then, like they gave it to me really quickly. Sometimes they give it to me and sometimes they're like, they want you, right? Like it's for you to decide. Like maybe you need to figure out which one, you know, the chicken and the egg, you know what I mean? If anything else comes through, or like if we do a sidebar, like, you know, but right now I'm getting, all I kept seeing was story time. So maybe that's what it is. Okay, Jessica, I literally just saw two things branch out. So I saw the book and then I saw the channel, and story time is, I woke up this morning, I thought this was for me, but now I think it's for you. I swear to God. I saw, um, a channel with story time, like literally like where people go to your channel to like because you're a good reader, you know. I stumbled upon this lady. I don't know the name of her channel now, but I stumbled upon this lady who that's what she does. Like her whole channel is she reads books, and she has people decide like what they want her to read, and she has this really beautiful accent. And so one of the last times I saw, she was doing all the Harry Potter books again, but she doesn't just do the books. Like I mean, she's like I mean, let me just read this, the devil upright, but this is how she would read it, right? The devil is The avatar of compulsion and desire. Oh, we are inclined to temper our indulgent. Okay, you know what? You get what I'm saying, though, right? Like she like really gets into the character, and she'd be like, "Oh, Harry, blah 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 blah," and she like gets into the voices. So if like you're somebody who like really loves to do that, like maybe your children's books are meant to like maybe you can write your children's books and like put them on your channel like once they're copyrighted or something like that, or maybe that'll be a way for you to sell your books and like self-publish. You're onto something. You're definitely onto something, dude. You are totally fucking onto something, because that's what I saw. But I feel like even though I can see you doing a channel for like the book, I feel like the book is something that will be better to be put out. And you can even let the family know, like maybe send a copy to the family and say, this is the book. This is, you know, where I'm at. Do you still talk to his family? Because I get the feeling no, but that doesn't mean that your kids don't, or maybe you do, but like maybe not about, maybe it's just nicey talk, but not like, um, but I'm hearing like, and this is going to sound shitty too to some people who don't understand, but you really don't owe anybody anything. You know, you don't owe anybody anything. It happened to you. It's your story. It's your life, and you get to fucking tell it any way you want to. And I'm sorry that he, you know, kind of grandpa and stepson. Oh, they're light workers. See what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like if you write it from your vantage point, from a spiritual standpoint, and like even write something in the forward, like, you know, this is what happened to me, you know, and over the years I have healed, and I have, you know, grown into a more like my more spiritual self, whatever. It's your languaging, it's your story, you know, but like saying something like that, then it shows people that, you know, it's been a long time now. So you get to rewrite the story, and you're doing it for him. Because that he, you know, right? Like sometimes when, you know, Alder gets like really upset about certain things that he did or said or whatever, I'll say, you know what, dude, you're not the sum of all your deeds. When he was going through his stuff, especially when I, you know, I would say to him, I'm like, not to sound like a braggart, but I would say, dude, I'm a telepathic medium. I knew you were cheating on me. Like, I just knew it. But even though he kept lying and whatever, he's a really good liar, you know, it's like I still knew what he was doing. And there was one time when he said to me something like, I can't look at you, or like, I can't, like, how can you forgive me? Or, you know, how can you still love me? Or something like that, you know? And I'm like, because you're not the sum of all your deeds. Because I fell in love with you. I fell in love with your beauty, your soul, your awesomeness. I'm like, the rest of that is like, and that's like stuff that you became through your pain, through your suffering, and through your trauma. You became a sex addict. You didn't choose to be a sex addict. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't choose at 3 years old to be part of like orgies and things like that. Like, it's horrific. None of us can really think about it. The fact that he's still functioning and is still a human being on this planet that gives as much love as he does when he can is a miracle in itself, you know? So we all have different levels of healing and understanding, and, you know, and so I think that's what gives us the strength. And Jessica, this is literally the energy that the planet needs right now to show that all can be forgiven. You said oops, I said the essay wrong. What's essay? Um, while you're saying that, I'm going to read the Page of Swords. You deleted something? Deleted. You're so cute. And welcome if you're here and you want to ask questions. People are coming and going. I can't see you, but if you want to ask a question for Spirit, feel free to. Let's see. So the Page of Swords upright. The Page of Swords is a clever and restless individual with clear eyes and naive resolve. The page dreams of searching for knowledge and truth with an intellectually dexterous mind and the ability to hold a tremendous amount of trivia. You might be eager to seek information, but you have not yet developed rigor in your process, despite your greenness, you're a quick study. Also, I just heard from Spirit, even though it said greenness, I heard greatness. Yeah, like you have so, like you, I mean, I literally keep hearing prolific writer, Jessica. Like, like you're hiding in the shadows. That's what they're saying. Like your back is turned, and the devil is trying to show you, like, the devil's in the details. Also, I didn't notice this until just now. Look at how they're tied up. Look at how these, like, it almost feels like a divine masculine that's lording over this divine feminine energy. She's all tied up. And even though I saw this as kind of the Prince of Darkness, because when I see the page, it makes me think of like the prince, right? Because you're not quite the king. So I feel like there's something going on with your divine masculine as well. And I feel like once you connect with your divine masculine, um, also when I heard lost in the abyss, it's like you have so much on your plate, but you're in the wrong place, if that makes any sense. They're asking me to read the reverse of the Page of Swords as well. It says, in the reverse position, the Page of Swords is an intellectual snob and a gossip. You might claim to know much, but your sources may not be trustworthy. Your pride is more important than the truth, and at the end of the day, you would rather win an argument than gather knowledge. You may be blunt, petty, and willfully tactless. Now, I don't know you to be this way, but it could be, I did get when they said, your pride is more important than the truth. That's what stuck out for me. Because right now it's like, I think there's a part of you too, and I don't blame you, right? Like we've all been in situations where if you tell somebody, they're like, oh my gosh, and there's that kind of like shame. How did you let this happen to you? Which is fucking bullshit. And it's like the shame game. So I feel like there's a part of you too that you're going to feel so free when you write this book, because the other reason why I feel like it's meant to be a book, and I feel like I could totally see you doing a children's channel, was not just seeing you signing books, like I saw that in your future in this lifetime, but also that, like, I feel like this is so much bigger than you fucking realize. It is so much bigger, and you're hiding in relationships and with all different types of people. And in that area, like you said, when you came up here, like you just, like, you felt more like you, right? You're like, I'm not even really a desert person. Kind of back to that thing that Spirit's been saying to all of us, like, where, with the little cartoon that's like, the air hurts my face. Why do I live in a place where the air hurts my face? Exactly. Like, they're like, are you done now? Like, are you done, playing these like games and playing these like, these roles that aren't yours? Yes, it's harder that people think, as I was a big corporate climber, professional, strong woman, and this happened. Exactly. 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 Sometimes I wonder, like, my mom's divine masculine basically like took over after her and my father divorced. But I get it because, my mom was a very strong person, but little by little, my dad beating the shit out of her, it chipped away her confidence, and it chipped away, like, when you're in any type of abusive situation, no matter what it is. Same with me. I only openly talk about Alder now and his addictions and all that, because I know a lot of people even now are like, how could you still like talk to him or be with him, like, after everything he did to you? And I'm like, well, he didn't really do anything to me. He was doing it to himself. And so it makes me, that's why I get sad when he can't look at me, or like, and I know that our relationship is still struggling because he hasn't forgiven himself fully for that. And he hasn't fully, because he does see my light and he does see my beauty, and he fucking hates himself that he did that to me, but he didn't do it to me. It was his addiction. It was something that was built from an early childhood. So, you were drawn to him for a reason. Your sons are your life. He gave you two beautiful children. There's a lot. I mean, I was, this is so interesting. This movie came into my orbit the other day, and I started watching it, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this movie before. And I kept watching it. And then finally I just stopped watching it because I'm like, I know how this ends. But it was a made for TV movie, like a cable movie, like Lifetime, like one of those, probably from like maybe early 2000s. And I don't remember her name, but she was a really big actress at the time. I don't see her much anymore, but I think her name was like uh, Anissa Ray or something. Anyway, but she was a high school senior who ends up having an affair with a 33-year-old married man who's a lawyer. And all of these things are happening to her, and they think it's the wife. She doesn't know he's married though. But you know, when you're 18 and when you're a senior in high school, you think you are an adult. I mean, in America, right? At 18, you are considered an adult. You can vote. You know, there's like a lot of things that you can do that you couldn't do before that. So, long story short, um, come to find out that not only is she not the first girl he's done this with, but she's also not the only one he's currently doing it with. And you know, it's like he finds this really strong young woman and he's like infatuated with her. And the gross part is he sees her at a basketball game or a football game or something, and she's a cheerleader and she's really strong and she's beautiful. And so it's like, but it's like those are the kind of men, like those kind of people. Well, I'm sure it happens to women too, or all, you know, whatever you align with, you know what I mean? Um, I'm sure there's predators and all, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or otherwise, right? Um, but long story short, it's like she went from being really strong to him breaking her down to her finally at the end regaining her strength and her being like, "You're the weak motherfucker. Like, how sad are you that you keep praying that you're married and have children? You have a law firm and you still, like, that's not enough for you. You still have to go and prey on fucking teenage girls so you can feel like the big man again. So you can feel, and it's just like, you know, but luckily, like, he didn't fucking break her. And luckily, like, you know, and it was really sad too because one of the people that she found out that he was with was somebody that she was really close to and she confided in. But like the other person didn't want to tell her that like he broke up with her to be with like the star girl, you know what I mean, like the star of the movie. And it's just this shame and this thing that like comes with it, right? Because it's like, how did I let this happen? How did I do this? Like what? And it's like, but you didn't, it's just part of life and it's part of humanity and definitely in the third dimensional energy, right? Like, so I feel really excited for you, Jessica, because I feel like you have a whole new fucking purpose and a whole new shift. I feel like you're meant to write these books and tell your story from your point of view. And you may even want, and I'll, you know, I would never tell a soul. I'll even help you if you want, like to edit it, if you want to self-publish, because those are the kind of things too. Self-publishing has become a really big deal. And that kind of, you know, especially in that kind of genre, because that's the kind of book that someone's like, dude, did you read that book? Did you hear about that story? Like, and she lived to tell the tale. You know, I mean, those are, it's a book of empowerment. It's a book of abuse. It's also about a book about mental health. You know, I mean, there's so much in your story that you can tell. And I'm only being cryptic because I know you and I know your story so well and I know the details, you know. Um, yes, I was going to ask you about that. Shoot. How did I miss that one? Did I answer your question when you said yes, I was going to ask you about that? I don't know how I missed it. I may have been reading the book, or sometimes I close my eyes for a minute when I'm talking to spirit. About help editing. Yes. Oh my gosh. It would be my honor. It would be my honor to help you with that. Like literally, it would be my honor. Um, and not throw flowers on myself, but I'm a writer too. And I think we're both really good writers. We're good, strong writers. And, you know, there's a way that you can put things into, you know, perspective. And the same goes for my book, you know, when I'm ready. I actually, my friend Bailey, who's one of our tribe members, as well, and Alder are the only two people. I think I may have read it to one of my other friends, but I don't really share my book with people either. But sometimes you need to. Sometimes you need to just have somebody read it and give you insight, or you need someone just to kind of like guide you when you're like on a topic, you know, to be like what else do you, but also as a medium, we can work together with your ex-husband as well to, you know, kind of get his input and his insight into, you know, and I think that would help his family as well, to give everyone closure and to give everyone, you know, a sounding board, really. But seriously, I can't get you out of my mind. I see people like coming up to you like and you signing books and then like being really emotional and saying, thank you for telling your story. It's now giving me, I want to tell my story. Because, you know, people will say, oh, that book has been written. Oh, that story has been told. Oh, that blah, 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 right? Yeah, especially all his story is not out. Not sure myself, right? Exactly. You know, you may even want to weigh in. If you still talk to some of his family members, you can tell them, you know, they can't stop you from writing a book about him. You know what I mean? But they can put their insight in. Like maybe you might want to say, like, would you like to, you know, have any insight? And then you can still tell the story from your side, but you can say, you know, when I spoke to his so-and-so, his grandfather, when I spoke with his, you know, blah, 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 you know, they gave me a little more insight to his childhood that I wasn't aware of. And that would really be helpful. And also I'm hearing would be really healing to your sons. Because the sad thing is that even though we were born in the 5D, right? Like the age of Aquarius came in the late 60s. So we were technically born in the fifth dimensional energy. I mean, we all have. The fifth dimensional energy's always been here. It's just the third dimensional energy that, and you know, that we've been living in, that dimensional energy of war and greed and poverty and control and rape and all that kind of stuff. But I'm also hearing that it will be very healing and very freeing for them as well. And you may even want to sit down with them and say, you know, I just want you to know I'm going to be writing this book and it's really important to me. And I want your insight if you want to, you know, give it, but you don't have to. And you don't ever have to be a part of it. You don't have to read it. You don't have to, you know, whatever. You know, you could be, because I just saw a dedication to your sons in the book, but you can even say, like, you don't want your name in there, that's fine. But I think they're going to change their mind. But also, I feel like it's something that you need to do. Like, I'm seeing you taking long trips too. Like, I just saw you, like, in your car driving, and I don't know where you're going, but I just see you by yourself, and I saw 3 days. Like, taking, like, I feel like it's going to, I feel like it's going to be, like, done and out in a year. I'm not exaggerating. But you need to take time away from everybody so that you can really write and so that nobody gets in your space while you're writing, because it's super important for you to be there and to connect with him when you write and not be in any fear-based energy to connect with him, right? Just because he's crossed over to the other side, you have to remember that you're dealing with his soul and not the person or the quote unquote monster that somebody may look at him as. He's not a monster. He just played a part, right? He's not a monster. He just played one on TV, you know, and that's all this is. Because at the end of the day, no matter, like, we can't change things. We can't go back. We can't, you know what I mean? It's all we can do now is move forward with our truth. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. Oh my gosh, are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Somebody just joined us. Welcome. I can't see you, by the way, unless you say like your name or whatever, but we are taking questions from Spirit. So if you have a question for Spirit that you would like answered today, it's free. So we haven't done this since our first one. Thank you. He's not a monster. He just played a part. Exactly. But he did. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, just like us, right? Like, we're all angels. I had to like have a come to Jesus moment with Alda the other day where I was like trying to like kind of be sweet and candy coat something until finally I just go, dude, you're just like me. I'm like, you're a fucking earth angel just like me. I'm like, your gifts are stronger than mine. And it was so cute the way he responded. He goes, yeah, I know. And I was like, I know, you know, so, but some people are still, you know, you could still be in this third dimensional energy, Jess. Like you're just there right now because you don't know where else to go. You're kind of like, you're just going in circles right now because you're like, you know, what should I do? What should I do? Well, you know what? Your prayers have been answered. That's why I felt like this was meant to be like this. I swear, because there's so much happening on earth right now. And I feel like the light workers and the earth angels, if you found yourself here today, you are one. And, you know, a lot of people are really fucking lost. They are lost. And it's okay to be lost, because you know what that means? When you feel lost, like lately I've been feeling lost too. Like I went down a rabbit hole last week that I was like, I think I ate, and I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not even, there's no shame around it. I think I ate like 4 bags of chips in like 3 days. Or no, I think maybe not that bad. But it was bad. It was like, because there's still some in the drawer. But I mean, if I had to accumulate it, it was like a family-sized bag of chips and like a small bag of chips in like 2 days. because I just didn't feel like, I just didn't fucking care. I had candy, and I mean, it was, and everything I get is organic and as natural as possible, but it's still, it's like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, my body was like, what are you doing? That's why I did like kind of a fast, because I was just like, I need some fruits and vegetables, like, but sometimes I need to go that route. It sounds peculiar to some people, but sometimes I need to go to like, it's like dumpster, diving like into my soul, right? Like dumpster diving into my, thank you, Spirit. I'm like, what are you saying? Because I heard deep soul diving dumpster. I was like, what? But it's almost like a dumpster dive into our soul. Okay, Jessica. Jessica has to go. Thank you, Jessica, for being here with us today. And dude, we'll connect when we connect, and we will continue on. I'll put a pin in this for you. In fact, I'll take all these cards back and I'll put them to the side, and I'll put a pin in this for you. And if anybody else would like to ask any questions from Spirit, and we will figure it all out. We will figure it all out together, because there's a few more things that we need to talk about, and we will talk about it when we're meant to, or it might come through to you like during a meditation or something. But either way, I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a blessed day, and we will see you next time. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for anybody else who is here. Does anybody else have a question? Do you have a question for Spirit? Your prayers answered. Okay, this just came out, so I don't know who this is for. And you don't even have to ask your question, by the way. If you're here, you don't even have to ask anything, or you don't have to do anything. Spirit will still talk to you. So this is the Hierophant, number 5. Also, out of nowhere, do you notice that my hands just started shaking? Drink some water. Oh my gosh, I can almost not even put it in there. Holy crap. Are you okay? Oh no. Drink some water. My whole body is shaking. Holy crap. Spirit, do you have any more cards for this reader? Okay, no, and they're telling me not to look at the bottom, so we're not going to do that. So let's just jump into your card, the Hierophant. Now, this is the cool thing about being a medium, right? Like, you don't have to be here. You don't even have to fucking type anything in. Your question will be answered. And maybe this is for somebody else, and maybe this won't, align for you. But whenever they come up, like the last reading we did for Jessica, I said, I don't know who this is for. I'm like, but then the number 311 came up, and they were like, holy shit, dude. They're like, that's me, blah, blah, blah. That's my neighbor, la, la, la. And I'm like, well, everything happens for a reason. Okay, so the Hierophant, your message from Spirit is, while the High Priestess represents our internal spiritual workings, the Hierophant is a figure of benign externalized spirituality, a representative of spiritual authority, guidance, and tradition. The keys mark the Hierophant as a gatekeeper. Though there may be some preparation and commitment necessary, it may be worthwhile to seek an organized outlet for a shared expression of spirituality. Oh my gosh. So whoever this message is for, I'm not exaggerating. It was like Jessica left, and like all of a sudden, like I when I pulled this card, my whole body just started shaking. So this must be a message for somebody. So let's see if there's any more cards to go with this. The Hierophant. Oh wow, look at that. Oh my gosh. We were just talking about the Empress. Look at the Emperor, number 6. And I've had this deck a long time, and I shuffled a lot. So the fact that it's one right after the other, the Emperor. So whoever you are, and whoever asked this question from Spirit, this is about prayers answered. So feel free to ask a question. If you're new here, I can't see you unless you want to be seen. And if you would like to ask a question from Spirit, it's free today. It's Sacred Sunday. I go live every Sunday at noon, and it's always free. Of course, you can contribute, but that's never the reason why I'm here. But I am definitely feeling like this energy, and I'm feeling the flanking, because this was on the bottom, and I kind of felt this. So here is the Queen of Swords. So I feel like this message is for somebody. Let me see. Do we have any more messages, Spirit? Do we have any more messages for this? Okay. This almost feels like, let me ask Spirit, are these meant for a picker reading? because for a second there, I almost felt like these were three separate readings. So it could even be, if you're new here, welcome. And if you're coming back, welcome back. This could even be that Spirit is having me do like 1, 2, and 3, but I do kind of feel like they're also aligned. So since they're that way, I'm going to start with the Queen of, what is that again? I just want to make sure. Swords, Queen of Swords. In the upright position. All of these were upright, which is really interesting. So the Queen of Swords says, the Queen of Swords represents a poised and intellectually rigorous figure. She adeptly gathers knowledge and uses every bit of information she can gather to guide her decisions. You are organized, perceptive, and a quick thinker. The Queen of Swords, though tactful, communicates sharply and succinctly without couching her words with sentiment. She peels back layer after layer of niceties and formalities to get to the heart of the issue. Honesty can be brutal, but there's much more to be said for a quick, clean cut. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So I don't know who that is for. I don't know. We'll see if that comes back together. And then let's go to the Hierophant. I still have the shakes. Like, I don't know who you guys are, but you're powerful motherfuckers. Okay, so the, oh, that's so weird. I was literally holding open the Hierophant and it went to the Empress. So that might be a message for somebody, maybe for a tarot person. Okay, so the Hierophant says, while the High Priestess represents our internal spiritual workings, the Hierophant is a figure of benign externalized spirituality, a representative of spiritual authority, guidance, and tradition. The keys mark the Hierophant as a gatekeeper. Though there may be some preparation and commitment necessary, it may be worthwhile to work. Ooh, I saw work instead of seek. Seek an organized outlet for a shared expression of spirituality. So I'm hearing for some of you who pulled the Hierophant, and I do feel like this might be connected in one reading, but I'm feeling this energy of like working. If you're wanting to like have a community of spiritual people, they're like, then start by getting a job working in the spiritual community, right? Like you're not gonna, you know how I came into my gifts. I was working. Oh, when I looked down, is 11144. So that might mean something to you guys. But also it's the number 11. So, oh, when I looked down, it was 11. It was, I literally saw 11111, but there's no way it could be because it was in the 50s. So you're definitely an angel, an earth angel of some kind. And I feel like you, without even reading this one yet, like I feel like this is you, like you're just super fucking drained. Because I feel like maybe you identify as like a female on the outside, but there's a lot of masculine energies that you have to put up as a front, or maybe you are like male identified, but like you have to, it's almost like you have a hard time like putting your softer side. I heard the softer side of Sears, right? Because like, you know, you have to be a man and work with power tools, right? Like, because that's why Sears, and this is so interesting, this is all coming together. This is so interesting because when I was growing up as a kid, Sears was like where you'd go and get tools and tires and whatever. And then they started like, you know, doing, or I think Sears was actually the very first catalog, like where you can order things like from like the late 1800s, early 1900s. I'm almost positive they were the first credit card as well. So they did have like you can order things through them, but when they came to a store, it was more industrialized. And then they decided to make like more like, you know, big the big box stores and like, you know, J.C. Penney and things like that, where they had not just household items, but they had clothes too. So when they were trying to promote that, their whole like marketing scam ploy, whatever, was, you know, the softer side of Sears, right? So it wasn't just for the men, it was also for women too. Like you can come out there together. So it could be something like that where, and this could be a message for all of us, like maybe Spirit's saying like, we've been putting our masculine forward. And even with the Hierophant right there, like, see how like their eyes are masked and their eyes are also closed and down. And there they are with this beautiful golden eagle. They're like surrounded by gold. They've got like this kingdom, but they're just tired. They're just really tired. And look at her. She doesn't look very, she looks tired too. If you look at her face, hold on. I just had it. Come on. This camera, the cameras from this is not always the best. But their eyes are glowy too. Gosh, I'm getting this really interesting shaky thing. So it could be for some of you that you're working with some really intense energies and spirit saying you need to take better care of your body and you need to take care of your health. It can't always be about everybody else. By the way, I'm going to take a screenshot. If it stops, I will come back. But I was like, I kind of felt this like vibe. I was supposed to take a screenshot. Maybe it's for somebody, maybe it's for something else, or maybe it's for the community section. Um, but I'm getting this like you're the gatekeeper, right? Like you decide who comes into your orbit, who comes into your world, like you get to decide. And this is a mass message for all of us because I do kind of feel like this is the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and in the middle it's like the Hierophant's like the peacekeeper, the gatekeeper, because he's not just the gatekeeper, like his hand, that's that symbol, then his hand, I'm almost positive that's supposed to be like um a blessing of some kind, but I see it as like a peace sign. You know, when people put two fingers up like peace, I kind of feel that too. But I also know that it has more to it than that. Um, but I feel like you're the gatekeeper of your spirituality, and spirit's like, you don't have to hide anymore. Because I'm getting this vibe that like there's like a lot of hiding going on. Okay, so let's see what the Emperor has to say. What just happened there? Oh, it's before it. I thought it, oh my gosh, this is where people are like, oh, you're dyslexic. I'm like, I don't know if it's dyslexia. I was actually tested for dyslexia. I don't have dyslexia. I have this thing where I will put like, because I'm a medium, sometimes I see things before they happen, or I see like the basically what they found out was my when I was in college, one of my professors realized that I transpose numbers and letters. And people are like, yeah, dyslexia. I'm like, nope, it's not the same. So I thought that the emperor was actually 6, but I see that it's 4. So that's really interesting because you guys know I read tarot, but I don't consider myself like a strict like tarot reader. Anyway, it says the emperor brings steady leadership and direction and represents reliability in organization. Under the emperor's leadership, there is a protocol at the ready for every possible challenge. The world is represented on his scepter, tying the emperor to the suit of coins. The eagle indicates a sharpness of mind, a connection to the suit of swords. You find yourself confident in your capacity to make responsible decisions for yourself and others. You have done as much preparation as is necessary, so move forward with your plans. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like too. It's like, I feel like this is like the way you see yourself, but like you're gatekeeping your gifts and like who you are instead of like showing the world who you are, when they're like, the world is who we like, you are what the world needs to see right now. Like if you found yourself to this reading, if we're all watching this right now, I feel like this is like a message for all of us, like where they're like, no more hiding, no more gatekeeping, this is old medicine. And a lot of people are living in a lot of past life stuff. I'm getting this from some ancestors right now, that people are living in this past life energy of like having to hide because they're scared of being killed. And spirit's like, you don't need to worry about that, like it's not going to happen. um Also, even now with like the things that have been coming out, sorry about that, it's like Sunday and beautiful outside, and I don't have air conditioning, and even if I did, I wouldn't turn my air conditioning on, it's too beautiful. Sorry, I was just making sure that I didn't miss any comments because there was a lot of comments. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. So the energy that I'm getting from this is that spirit basically is like, no more hiding, no more hiding. Like, and this was at the bottom of the deck, but I did a little shuffle to see if it was still the same card, and they're like, yes. Oh, look at the cracked mirror. Ugh, that makes so much sense right now. And just, you know, this is the 5 of coins. So I feel like we're not done there. I feel like there's more to be said or more to be seen. Okay, so this one is like this. So I don't know if this is for somebody that's going to come in, or if it's like a bonus message after this one. But I'm getting the vibe to like kind of pull this out. Okay, here we go. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I cannot see you unless you want to be seen. And right now we are asking questions from Spirit. So if you would like to ask a question, it's free. Welcome to Sacred Sunday. I'm Tallulah Kelly, and this is the Magical Medium. I'm the Magical Medium. But you are more than welcome to be here. And that's why it says your prayers answered. So if you have a question, or if you've been putting prayers out into the universe and you're not getting a response, we're finishing up a reading right now. Or maybe this is for you. This could be for you, because I just pulled this card right before you came on. And again, you don't have to identify yourself, and I will never identify your story. Sometimes people get a little freaked out when it comes on, because it's like they think that I can see them or see their name, and I can't. All I can see is that people are present. So like, since we've started this, I don't know how many people have come on, lots. But then, sometimes they stay, sometimes they don't stay, But the question, you can always come back to this and watch it when, whatever. So I'm going to leave that card over there, because maybe that's not for them. Maybe it is. Maybe it's for somebody else. But we're going to go back over to here to continue our little story here. So let's go to the 5 of Coins. My little book is falling apart. I'm so sad. It's like all these pages are starting to fall out. I'm like, no. I'm like, I love this. I love this. It's like one of my favorite books out of all of my decks. It's like literally one of my favorites. Okay, here we go. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Feel free to ask a question. If you have a question for Spirit, feel free to ask it. This is free. It's Sacred Sunday. We go live every Sunday at noon. Sometimes it's just for the collective. Sometimes it's individualized questions. Today, your prayers answered. So if you have a prayer that you've been putting out into the universe and you haven't got a response yet, and you're wondering what's going on, if you put a manifestation out there and you're wondering if it's going to show up, feel free to ask about that. Or if you have a specific question, or if you want to speak with a crossed over loved one, whatever you want to do. While you're doing that, I'm going to finish up this reading, and we are going to read 5 of Coins upright. That's this card right here. And this might even be for you, because right before you came on, I shuffled and pulled this card, and then this card came out, but this is the back of the card, so it could just be there waiting for you, because timing is a human thing, not a spiritual thing. Okay, so the 5 of Coins signifies difficult times ahead. You may have suffered a major financial setback. Your dire circumstances are compounded by the accompanying embarrassment and isolation, and you feel as though you must confront your problems alone. You may find it difficult to face yourself, and for reasons you do not fully grasp. It is difficult to seek help. Okay. So, interesting. Okay, so let's see what your question is. What should I expect in love? Okay, let me ask Spirit if this, let me see if, okay. Let's check in. This card that I'm reading right now, does this have to do with Christy's question about love? Okay, is this wrapping up the other reading? Okay, and then is this Christy's answer for love? Okay, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so Christy, we're going to finish this up. Thank you for the like. Thank you so much. We're going to finish this up, and then we're going to go to that. So that's so interesting, you guys. So what we were saying about this is that for some of us, it's like we're being the gatekeepers, and this is good medicine for all of us, Christy. So the Hierophant was basically telling us that some of us are having a hard time putting our gifts out there. We're having a hard time showing the world, who we are and why we're here and what's going on. And, for some of you, the reason why you haven't pursued your gifts is because of this. And I know that this isn't going to be something you want to hear, but it's something that has to be said. I didn't start living the RV life. I didn't start doing this. You know what I mean? Like, I had to leave my life. I loved my life. I worked in, see, Christy's saying she's suffering from imposter syndrome. Then this is probably for you as well. Because that's exactly right. Imposter syndrome. What a beautiful way to put it, right? Thank you for your insight, and let me know if there's another name you'd like me to call you. Welcome, by the way, for anybody that came in here. I can't see you unless you want to be seen, but if you'd like to ask a question, we're finishing up one reading, and we're about to answer Christy's question, and then you will be next. So, but make sure that you put your question in the comment box, or else, somebody else will go before you, and I go in the order that they're listed in the comments. Okay. And if you don't want to be seen, there's nothing I could do about that. I can't get your question any other way. So Christy said, I had to leave everything to focus on myself and now working on a big project. Oh, beautiful. That's so awesome. Well, that's kind of what I feel like for this too, right? Because we have the Queen of Swords, which swords are all about communication, right? And mastering that connection. And then the Hierophant, and this one, they were talking about, being the gatekeeper. And I got from Spirit that this is being the gatekeeper of your spirituality. And then we spoke of the Emperor, the Emperor energy, and then we were coming to the Five of Coins. And basically how these are all coming together is that a lot of people are starting to take the masks off and are starting to realize that the imposter syndrome is very real. And if you found yourself here, welcome. I am Tallulah Kelly. I'm the magical medium, and congratulations, you're an earth angel or a light worker or both, because I only read for light workers and spiritual beings that are incarnated in a human avatar. Earth angels, there are a limited amount of us here on earth at this time. But you are not alone. And when I started my journey, I was donned the healer for the healers, meaning like I am here to like make sure that all the other light workers, we don't want anybody else to lose their lives, And a lot of light workers get very confused, the star seeds, right? Like, because from inception, we feel different, from our siblings, from our family, from our friends, church, coworker, whatever it is, organized religion, organized, communities. We can be ostracized for being ourselves, but, a lot of the times we put ourselves in those situations and align with those people and those energies so that we can grow and be the strong, powerful beings that we were brought here to be. And right now, the way that the planet is going, it's, if you look at the planet and what's happening in a fear-based consciousness and energy, then that's all you're going to see. But if you look at it through the eyes of your light worker, through your earth angel, that it's just part of the, it's all part of the process. We all love looking down. What's the rest of the words? All we want is some respect, but there's something that's never around. It's something like that. It's from a band called Morchiba. And it's all part of the process. If you're here right now, you incarnated into a human body so that you can hold the light. You can be a pushpin on planet Earth right now to hold and anchor the light for the planet. That is why you are here. And I know for some of you, it's a very scary situation, right? Like if you've never experienced that. Also, there's a teeny tiny little sugar ant up there. So, Christy, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to work with the ant spirit animal. And ants of all sizes, right? And all animals, all beings, like we all have a purpose. We all came here to incarnate, to help bring the fifth dimensional energy back to the actual reality of planet Earth. Planet Earth was born in the fifth dimensional reality. It was always born to be a school of learning and to be a place for our souls to expand and grow. Not a lot of people understand that, because over the centuries and many millennia, they have fallen into the guise of that what we believe and what we think is crazy or isn't real, or that's only for a certain elite group of people. Bullshit. It's fucking bullshit, right? And if you're new here, I swear like a sailor, right? Like even that, like people are like, oh, you can't be spiritual and still swear. I'm like, yeah, and you can still be spiritual and, fuck like a rabbit and like have the best sex of your life. You know what I mean? Like you can still be all of these things. I knew when I started my path, I knew that I was going to have to make a lot of changes. And whether this is for just you or for everybody, Christy, this message right now is really vital and important. But when you finally figure out like your path and your purpose and who you are, most of the time you have to change everything. Oh, if you're getting bitten by ants, that's a huge thing, right? Like that's them telling you right now, they're trying to talk to you. And I could tell you all the spiritual meaning, but you're going to retain that information more if you seek it out yourself. So, even an ant, it's like even if a fly keeps coming at you and you're like, what the fuck, and you're like, yeah, well, flies have a purpose. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose, and to everything turn, right? So, um, and so right now it's like even today, like this moment, this time you had to like everything had to align for you to show up here today, whether you're or already a tribe member or you just found me, whatever it is, like you were meant to be a part of this today. One of our tribe members, one of our anchors, Jessica, she was here earlier, and I ended up doing a reading for her, which I just talked to her yesterday. Like she's a friend of mine too, but sometimes it's like things come through when, it's all divine timing. So you found yourself here for a reason. You connected with this tribe for a reason. And maybe this is spirit's wink, wink to you that, exactly like you have to sometimes we have to break the mirror of illusion of what we think we know or what we think we are or who we think we are. Especially if, you've been in an energy where, people like, strict, love to you too. Thank you so much, dude. There's so much that we have been taught and been sold a bad bill of goods on, and now we have to like relearn, and everybody's awakening on the planet right now. It's just we're awakening at different times and different speeds and all that kind of stuff. We're all at different levels of consciousness, and when you're at different levels of consciousness, you're not going to have the same conversation, right? Like I went shopping the other day, and oh, you were communicating with a past loved one. Oh, yay! Well, hello. Um, is it a grandma, by the way? Because I just saw the word grandma. But anyway, I was out shopping recently, and all day long I kept running into. First, I kept running into this woman, and then I kept running into this like grandmother and her granddaughter, and then long story short, at the end of the day, at this one store, because it's like kind of a small area, and I was shopping at a bunch of different stores, and at the end of the day, the woman that I was talking to in the few other stores was actually, that's what I felt was grandma, for sure. And then all of a sudden I realized that the grandmother and the granddaughter and the other woman that I was talking to, they were all related. They were 3 generations. And here I was talking to them about different things. And you know what I mean? So it's like, this is how we're connected. I must have gone into 6 different stores that day. Cause if you're new here, you may not know, but I live like off in the boonies, like off grid. So I go to like there's this one area that's like an hour away from my house or maybe less. But it's got like everything, like everything that you could possibly need. It's like, like just strip mall, like central. But it's really cool, and like malls and like big box stores, because like once or twice a year we go there and we just buy a bunch of shit, and then like that's like it, and then I'm like, yay, I don't have to go there again. But I mean, like, what are the odds, like that I would like go to all these different stores in this town and then like run into like the one lady so many times, and then like go into this one store and then I keep running into like the grandmother and the granddaughter. I mean, it was just, there are no accidents. And when we realize that there are no accidents, it's like we start to like see everything for what it is and not what people exactly, and shaman is just a fancy word for teacher, leader, in my experience and in my learnings and my teachings. I've been, like, you've always been this, I've always been this. Like we were literally created by the creator. Like we were created to be, we were created to be what we are. And by the way, I have to pull this one because I feel like you're curious. Oh, look at that. You had a love question. So you pulled what is that? Oh, it's the star card in reverse. So I always read both because I feel like they give us both unless spirit tells me not to. Like some of these cards, they didn't have me read the reverse on. But this one, I'm really feeling pulled to read both sides of it. And maybe because they want you to see this from both sides, if that makes any sense. From both sides of the coin, so to speak. So let's read the reversed first. I love this book. It says, as the dust settles and the tower lies in ruin. Oh, look at how the wind just moved your card. You're so powerful. Okay. As the dust settles and the tower lies in ruin, you may find yourself alone in the dark. Reverse the star cautions that you have fallen deep in despair and cannot move forward. Signs of hope seem too good to be true, and you feel more lost than ever. Take a moment to breathe and give yourself space to become reorientated. That's powerful. You know what's so interesting is so right when you said you had a love question, I was like, no. Like I literally heard no. And it was very strong and very curt. And they were talking about that in the Queen of Swords energy, right? Like she doesn't mince words. Like she's like, nope. So I get the vibe like whatever love question you're asking about this person. So it's either you're asking about a person and they're saying no, you're asking about whether love is coming into your life and they're saying no. But either way, like it's your time. Like this is your time to work on you. This is your time. If you were in a relationship, then the tower moment maybe needed to happen so that you could I mean, it's they're being very cryptic and they're being very precise on like what I say because also, and I mean this with all love and respect, I know we don't know each other, but like I'm speaking to your higher self and I'm speaking, you know, obviously I don't have to explain to you, you know what I'm talking about. But don't let your ego get in the way, okay? This is from your higher self, right? When you're like, we're shamans, I mean, yes, but at the same time, like you don't really know me, but you know me, but you don't know me, but you know me. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of the same for you. So I'm kind of getting this like young grasshopper vibe. Like even if you've been practicing your whole life, even if like you know, like whatever, I'm getting this vibe from spirit. Like this isn't like a tongue lashing or a shame thing or whatever, right? This is more like a don't forget who you are and don't forget why you came here. You had a tower moment a month ago. Okay. Right. So whatever this person is in love, like it needs to work itself out. I'm getting a third dimensional energy though. Like I'm getting like if you had a breakup with somebody, like they're not in the same place that you are. And they're not even I get the vibe like they're not even close to being in the same place that you are. So if that is the truth, then you have to remember that with great strength comes great responsibility. So, and I'm also hearing because I'm getting this vibe like you want to know whether they're a twin flame or a soulmate or something like that. And spirit's like, you know, like don't even like it's done. The tower moment happened for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, right? Like so just like let it lie, let it be. If also I just saw some new people came on. If you want to ask any questions, or if you have any prayers that or manifestations you've been putting out to spirit and you want to know when they're going to come to fruition, feel free to type in the comment box. Okay, so what'd you say? No, you moved away. You moved away a month ago. Feel free to, you know, like let's put it this way. Sometimes it's free flowing and sometimes it's not. Also, like this Aquarius energy from the star card, like I'm getting that really strong. So I don't know if you're an Aquarius or you're dealing with an Aquarius, but I'm definitely getting that energy as well, like kind of like quirky, funky, fun vibe. And I don't know if this is talking about you or your person, but all I know is that whatever happened, like it had to happen for you to like fully step into your gifts. And I feel like the mirror cracking in your situation is like, right? Like you're like, let's put it this way. When I was coming into my gifts, one of the first, I'll use your terminology, one of the first shamans I ever worked with, one of my first teachers, I loved her. I loved her. I mean, she like really helped me awaken to my gifts. But at the same time, she was very arrogant and she was very full of herself. And I always applaud that. I want people to walk their walk and you're so cute. Yes, I'm witty. I love you. You're adorable. And I mean that in the most beautiful, like magical sense. Um, but but she was so like full of life and vigor and I loved that about her. But like one time it was like me and her and another witchy light worker, I guess I'll use that terminology, and we were having this magical like girls night. We all made food and you know I was still drinking at the time and neither of them really drank, but I got a really nice bottle of wine and we just had a really good time. And I kind of understood why she wasn't good at drinking because she was like, I felt like in Interview with a Vampire, she's like, oh yeah, I just gave him a thimbleful. Like she barely had anything and she was just off the rails. And I was like, dude, you're hilarious right now. I'm like, I feel like I'm watching a drunk fairy because she was just so magical, you know? but it was really cute. And then at one point, we all three of us, I don't remember how it happened, but like we all said the same thing, or like something where like we were like, oh my gosh. And she goes, wherever two or more gather, right? You know, as they say, like, right, like magical creatures, like witches, healers, deep down believers, whatever terminology or label you like for yourself. But she was like, you know, look at us. And she just like laughed. She belly laughed and like fell backwards. And she came forward and she goes, I love being me. I love being a psychic. I love blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because our new moon in Cancer reading, if you want to check it out on my channel, you may find some pearls in there. But in the new moon in Cancer reading, we used the Love Yourself Oracle. And one of the cards that we pulled was a mantra of saying, I love being me. Now, I want us to love ourselves. Spirit wants us to love ourselves, right? Like, I want you to love yourself. But there's like a fine line of like loving yourself. And then there's like, you know, so she just kind of, and it was interesting because I saw a different side of her that I'd never seen before. She was more like my teacher, but yet even, and I was older than her, which is, you know, no big deal, right? But in human years, I was older than her. But it was just very interesting to see that side of her, because I realized later that it was part of her issue that she was working on, because as she was growing up, she struggled, and I guess suffered. I was trying to say both words at the same time. She struggled with self-love, and she struggled with body issues. But to look at her when I knew her, she was gorgeous, like 27, like just like prime age, like her body, like everything that we would physically and the human would physically find beautiful and attractive. I mean, she was so beautiful, like she was actually a model, and she became a model because of me. And that's how we met, because I actually was working as, I was a fashion designer and a wardrobe stylist. And at the time I was working, and I did photo shoots and runway shows and things like that. And so I kind of discovered her, and she just took my breath away. And I was like, have you ever modeled before? She kind of reminded me of Linda Carter, to give you like an image of like the young Linda Carter when she was Wonder Woman. She looked just like her with these bright eyes and dark hair, and she was just a vision. But I found out later that she struggled with like her weight and her teeth, and like she didn't, you know, acne and all that. So that kind of stuff can really stick with us. So it wasn't that I didn't want her to love herself. It wasn't that I didn't want her to be proud of herself. It wasn't that I didn't want her, you know what I mean? It's, of course, but there was just something behind it. And see, I'm a human bullshit barometer. One of my gifts on this planet is beyond being a medium. It's just that I know I can, it's not just the telepathic, it's the energy. So even though we're not even on the, you know, like together, I can still feel you. And so that kind of energy, when it comes up, we have to remember that we were given this strength and these responsibilities. Like, we were given these gifts because Spirit knows we can handle it. But we also have to remember that we have to be humble and be grateful. And so I'm just getting that vibe from Spirit to just remember who you are is beautiful and awesome. Don't forget who you are, but also to not feed in too much to the ego side of that, right? Because as I heard Deepak Chopra say one time, ego is edging God out, right? So like God, goddess, creator, whatever you believe in, but like he was just saying, like, you know, it's an acronym for, it's like when, so we need our ego to survive. We need our ego to keep us strong and keep your wit, you know what I mean? Like we want that, but also to get grounded and remember that, you know, especially if you're somebody who's like outwardly really beautiful, you know, some people, if you're outwardly beautiful your entire life and you're used to always being beautiful, then a lot of times you get what you want. And I actually, this is so weird. I don't know why this is coming up, but I recently had a dream where somebody was like, they said something like, oh, this is you. And I was all done up and I looked beautiful. I looked like a fucking supermodel. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, wow. Like I haven't seen myself like this in a really long time, because most of my life I had bleach blonde hair, and I've had my hair all different colors and whatever, but and I've been everything from a size 00 to a size 22. So I know what it's like to be thin. I know what it's like to be really heavy, and I'm not quite 5'3". I'm like 5'2 3/4". So, you know, I'm short, I'm little, you know, so I know what it's like. But I mean, I remember people saying, you know, look at how beautiful her face is, but she's fat. Like I'd hear people say things behind my back. And, you know, I saw this thing from Delta Burke once, and Delta Burke said that's when she started to become really insecure with her weight, because people only ever saw her as Delta Burke, the beauty queen. They never wanted to see her as like the person or the woman. Or she's like, do you know, like, do you know how hard it is for me to stay that skinny? I basically can't drink. I can't eat what I want. I can't, you know. And so, you know, it's looks are fleeting, and we all know that. So maybe this isn't just for you. Like whenever we do these open readings like this, I feel like it's maybe somebody else needs this too, and you're just, you know, you're here as the placeholder, right? Like it's your reading that's like giving us all the medicine. But it was really interesting because then in my dream, when I turned around and I looked in the mirror, I looked like I do now. I had no makeup on. You know, because as of like right now, I haven't colored my hair in 3 years. Almost all my natural color has grown back out. And I was showing like my gray, I'm 53, and I was showing my gray hairs to my husband the other day, and I was like, look at my tinsel. And I was laughing, you know, because my mom noticed it before she passed. The last time I saw my mom, she goes, oh my gosh, you have tinsel like Aunt Joan, her aunt. She's my great aunt, but it was my mom's aunt. And she said, oh my gosh, she's the only one. We all prayed for our hair to be like hers. She's the only one that ever had her hair like that. And she's like, oh, how cool that you're going to have hair like that. So I've been going natural the last 3 years, like waiting for it. Like, I'm like, I want my natural. I want tinsel. I want cool silver hair, you know. But it hasn't come in yet. So I finally broke down and I bought some hair color. And I feel like that was like spirit trying to say, like, it's okay to go back to looking beautiful. Just don't forget like who you are at your core. And maybe this is for you, Christy, you know, it's like you're beautiful inside and out. I can feel your energy, you know, like I can't see you, but I can feel you. And the fact that I feel like these two cards really came out when you did. And I feel like, you know, also interesting that I said came out. For those of you who are here, this particular deck was actually written by an LGBTQ member, and I wanted to bring this deck out today in honor of the last day of Pride Month, the last weekend day. Tomorrow's technically the last day, but I know there's a lot of like festivities and things going on today. So we send love to our LGBTQ community today. And, you know, just as like a little public message that we love you and we're here to support you. And maybe also this could be a message for some of you that are afraid to come out, and Spirit's like, come out wherever you are, and meet the fine lady who fell from a star. Because that's what you are. You're star seeds. And it's okay. You know, I just got done watching this awesome show that I'd never even heard about called You, Me, and Her, or You, Me, Her, something like that. And it's about this throuple and their lives together. Ooh, listen to those wind chimes really going at it for us today. So, you know, maybe you're somebody that would flourish more in a throuple. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's only things wrong with things if you put something wrong with it, right? Or if it feels wrong at your core. I mean, obviously, you know, you don't want to murder people or things or whatever, right? Like if you feel like it's wrong at your core, but then somebody could argue that too, as dark and sinister and fucked up as that sounds. Somebody, right, as a killer could argue that, like, you know, look at Dexter. I mean, if we had serial killers that only killed people that were like killing and hurting people, that, you know, because in my experience, you'd have to have no conscience. Like you'd have to have no conscience. But at the same time, that was created for us to experience and for us to understand. Why was there a TV show made about it if people weren't fascinated by it? Like, why does somebody want to do that? Why? I mean, I can't even look at my own blood. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine, you know what I mean? Like, as an empath, right? And so many of us light workers, we're empaths as well. So we have to be very mindful. But at the same time, my partner is an empath, but he's an empath about certain things, but he's not an empath on all things. If somebody like talked to him for a while, they might think that he was a sociopath and say like he has no feelings at all, but he does. He's a different type of empath. So I mean, there's just, maybe that's what they're trying to show us too. You know, there's all sides to every part of it. So let's read the reverse of the star. It says, as the dust settles. Oh no. Do you want to read the upright? Oh, so they want me to read the upright of the star because we pulled it in reverse. Sorry, guys. All right, so it says, the star is the guardian of this deck. She represents hope and endless possibility. The star gently nurtures the flowers, and the ibis, a steward of creativity and magic, circles about her after the tower has fallen and the light of dusk fades into night, the star is there to help you make your way through the dark. All you have to do is look up. So I feel like this is for you as well, Christy. Like, I feel like this is because that's who you really are, right? Like, you're the star. Like, and I feel like you're a star in your own right. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you have a YouTube channel or you're a musician or like that just came out of my mouth. So I don't know what that's, I don't know if you are, but like, I get the vibe, like you are definitely meant to be, you know, but just remember, like you were, oh man, this card is like pushing out. And I feel like this is you, right? Like, remember to be the silent warrior too. You know, it's like, did you ever watch Beaches, that scene with Bette Midler where she's like, she's so full of herself and she's like, hello, everybody. She's like, oh, she's like, are you talking about me? She's like, I love talking about me, but enough about me. What do you think of me? Right? You know, like, so you could be a Leo too. It could be, and it's like, it's like, then you come by it naturally, right? Like, you're like, I can't help it. I'm just like this powerful being. But it's the Knight of Swords. So it could even be because they're having me put it in the middle of the Hierophant, because the Hierophant is the gatekeeper of, you know, all realms. So I feel like they're trying to show you, like, don't forget this is who you are, though. You know what I mean? Like, don't get it twisted. Like, you are still a fucking warrior. You are a light worker for spirit. You're allowed to be here and have your whatever, but they're like, don't have any false illusions about like who you really are and where you come from. Because see, here you can see their wings are down, but here you don't see the wings at all. And maybe that's something that you are, you know, had a hard time with too. Yeah, she says I'm a silent warrior. Yeah, because I feel, let's put it this way, the cards don't lie, tarot doesn't lie, but at the same time, neither does energy. So I feel as awesome as you are, like I feel you. Like I don't, like I said, I don't know you, but I feel you. You could be 60 years old, but yet I feel this very young, like 20s, like I feel like you're about to like take on the world, or you're trying to anyway, right? But also spirit saying like, you know, everybody has to crawl before they walk. You know, so give yourself some time to like really step into your gifts. You're 36. Okay. So, and it could be too, like, have you recently come into your gifts, or like, I would say like the last 6 years or less, or like maybe you've always known you had these gifts, right? But like you're knowing, or like, did somebody give you a confirmation in the last, like, I just saw the number 6. So I don't know if that means anything to you. So that's just what came out. But, because sometimes when we're in our, like, I used to, I didn't say this, but I worked with, so let's put it this way, that's the first quote unquote shaman I worked with, is the one I told you about, who was like very braggy, you know, whatever. But I realized it wasn't her. It was like her, it was her human shit. It was her inner child, you know, like, look at me now, like I'm beautiful and I'm, you know, whatever. But after her, I worked with a lot of other teachers and a lot of other shamans, and they were much older than me, and they had a much deeper insight to things. So it was interesting that my first teacher was so much younger than me, because I feel like I needed to have that relationship with her, because I was actually probably like in my early 40s when I met her. But it was 6 years ago when you actually, okay, so it was 6 years ago that you got your mentor. Okay, that makes sense. Um, so I would say it could be, you know, a lot of different things, but it was when I was going through one of the hardest like initiations, so to speak. And I worked with a very old Native American shaman, and he spoke like this, you know? And I was told by a lot of different Native American shamans, and some of them didn't even know each other. They all told me, they said, you're part of the Red Priests Nation, or the Red. So they were talking about, because they call it the Good Red Road. Like it's about walking the old way, basically. And they were talking about. I'm getting my words mixed up and jumbled, but basically, what they were saying is it's like an initiation process, and you have to go through like different levels and different, you know, the fact that you are here today tells me a lot. So it means that like you're ready, you know, like I feel like you're ready to like walk the old way. And it could be for some people, when we were talking about money and people saying, oh, because I hear this all the time where people are like, oh, I can't quit my job. And I'm like, why can't you quit your job? They're like, because I need to make money. I'm like, okay, but you're working at a job that's all third dimensional energy based. So like, what do you think is gonna come out of that? Like, what do you, I had one of our tribe members, we would argue about it because she was convinced that she was meant to stay at that job. And I'm like, you're not meant to stay at that job. And I'm like, I go, why do you? And it would frustrate me because we became friends. And I'm like, and in fact, I don't really talk to them anymore because it just got to the point where I was just like, so you'll take my advice, not my advice. I don't mean to sound, there's my ego. So you'll take spirit's advice through me, right? You'll seek it out through me, and everything else I told you hits. But this thing that I'm telling you that you have to do, you're saying it doesn't hit. But let's be honest, you're saying it doesn't hit because you don't want to fucking do it. And that's right there is the third dimensional energy that's holding you back, right? I'm telling you, like spirit is telling you through my mouth that you need to leave that job and you need to go in this direction. They're telling you where your money is. They're telling you where your blah, blah, blah. Well, go ahead. Spin on the fucking hamster wheel. They'll either finally figure it out or they'll spin on that hamster wheel until they die. Some people, they're like, I'm staying at this job because I have to blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And again, but I'll say, this is the job that spirit is saying would be good for you. And I'll even say like, this is the town, there's a place. I give them like the breadcrumbs, the fucking map, everything. And they're still going to do what they're going to do. So I feel like this is like your pivotal moment right now. Like you ended up here today for a reason. You are meant to be here today for a reason. And I feel like spirit is saying to you, stop pretending like you don't know what you need to do. And I'm getting like, it's time to get more grounded because, in my experience, right? I'm 53. 36 is still very, very young. I'm still very young. You know what I mean? Like the way that we look at the world and value age and like all those things, you know what I mean? Like we're in a different time period. We may actually see in our lifetimes, you for sure, right? Because you have less, years than I do. But there's a good chance that we're going to live past our hundreds. You know what I mean? Like, because there is records of human beings that have lived hundreds of years. There are certain parts of the world where people are like 122, 123, like that's totally normal. They still walk every day. There's this one lady, I just saw her recently, actually, her video. She's 122 and she was talking about how she still smokes sometimes when she wants to. She still has alcohol. She eats pretty healthy, but she's like, mostly she just doesn't like to, like she gets too full. You know what I mean? So she eats certain foods or whatever, but for the most part, she's just living in moderation, And that's all we're supposed to do is live in moderation, spiritually, mentally, physically, all of the above, like just live in moderation. I've been going through a fast. I spoke about this earlier. I've been going through a fast over the last few days. Because I just went kind of like balls to the wall. I really wanted these chips and I wanted this dip and I was like been craving it. So instead of like denying myself it, I'll eat it. But then like I let my body take the time to recalibrate. And then I put healthy food back in and make sure my gut health is good, But we've been taught to live in this maximized energy, to be the best, do the best, get the best, have the best, and like all this, and work hard, play hard. And it's like, okay, but most of the time people are just working fucking hard now because the world has just changed and shifted. So in order for you to gain like what you need, it's like spirit saying work harder, or they're saying instead of working harder, work smarter. So let's see if there's any more. Ooh, this one just came out. Interesting that I was just talking about that this deck was created by the LGBTQ community because this beautiful, I don't know if he did the drawings as well, but the designer of this deck is an LGBTQ, he's a gay man. And he put this deck out purposely. And as far as I know, he's the only one that did this. But he put, oh, sorry, you guys. I lost you for a second. Sorry, I lost you guys for a second. I don't know who this is. I don't know how long it was gone. But anyway, let me know if you can still hear me. But anyway, the thing I love about this deck is that he's got representations of all different lovers. So it's not just a man and a woman. He has a man and a woman, In fact, this card is actually really beautiful because when you look at this, it's very androgynous too. So I don't know if this message is for you, Christy, or if it's for someone else, but I'm also hearing like it's okay to fall in love with the person and not the. Actually, I feel like I don't want to cover the Queen of Swords. Let me do that. And look at that. That's why, because look at that. Look at that divine feminine across the board. So it could be maybe you're curious, maybe you're bi-curious, maybe you're just curious. When I was younger, I went through a phase because I was having women hit on me all the time. And I was like, do they know something I don't? You know what I mean? And so I grew up on the south side of Chicago where like you wouldn't even talk about people being gay. Like, I mean, I grew up in a very right-wing Republican Christian, you name it, it was not good. So I moved to LA when I was 23 because I was so tired of the bullshit. I was so tired of like the narrow-mindedness and I was like, I need to get out of here. So I moved to LA and I experimented a lot. And what I found, ooh, little sign there, what's that? Um, and I found that actually I experimented with women before I moved to LA. That's not true. When I was a teenager, I was in my early 20s, my late teens and my early 20s, I did dabble a little bit. I was in a foursome, a threesome. I kind of wanted to see what it would be like. And then I did something that some people would be like, oh my gosh, Lula. But I actually had a menage a trois where it was me and like four guys, and I was the only woman. And let me tell you something. Don't knock it till you try it because it was amazing. Now, I was really blessed, okay? I was in a situation that there was one guy that was a little questionable, but the rest of the guys were like so sweet and so honorable. It happened very naturally. It was nothing I had ever planned. It was like, and I was really just kind of like, I was liking two of the guys in the group, and then it just kind of happened, and I just let it happen until I was like, okay, I'm done, and I left. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it in any way, shape, or form. But it was really nice to have four really hot, sexy guys like just worshiping my body. It was, I mean, let's just say, yeah, it was amazing. And we were smart and we were protected and all that good stuff. But it was really cool. So maybe this is something for you, but maybe it's for other people in the tribe to just be open to your sexuality and be open to like falling in love with like a person or falling in lust with a person. Now, as long as no one's getting hurt, right? And as long as you're all consenting and it's something everybody wants, there is nothing wrong with experimenting. It's another thing that people are like, oh, I'm spiritual. Like, oh, that's bad. There's no such thing as bad and good. It's a man-made construct of bad and good, right? We do have light and shadow, yes, of course. And we have things that, the pendulum swings both ways, but I mean, but this could be very literal. I mean, like I said, today is the last day of Pride Month for the weekend. Tomorrow's the last day technically, but this deck really wanted to come out. So I feel like, even when I go back in and tag this, they'll probably have me do the LGBTQ community, or maybe even just for people to see that like, it's okay to like feel this way about one person and feel this way about another person. I've been sexually attracted to people, but not like had any emotional tie to them. And I've been emotionally tied to people and not been sexually attracted to them. So, whatever works for you. And I feel like for all of us right now, Spirit is wanting us to be a little more open with the way we look at ourselves and the way we look at the world and sexuality, because, we went from one extreme to like keeping it behind doors to like, it's out there, like, porn, the black web, the dark web, whatever, all that stuff. I don't even know how to get onto the dark web. I know it exists, but like, I don't even want to know how to get on there. And I don't want to go on there because, it's serving a purpose too, whether we like it or not. So I feel like the Lovers card is really interesting because if this is still your question, Christy, I just think it's really interesting that you spoke of that. Now, I don't know if you're with, male identified, female identified, the languaging is different for all people. So I'll let you, decide that for yourself. But I am going to read the card because I love this book so much. Okay, so the Lovers. The Lovers. Okay, so he has four. I wondered how many cards he has. So he has four. My book is falling apart. So he did this on purpose so that people can feel that like they're not alone. So even though I pulled this particular card, they're trying to show you that there's all different forms of lovers and that you don't have to put yourself in a box. So it says, before the first shuffle, remember that to add only the lovers card or cards that call to you the most to your deck. See, that's what he said, but I leave them all in there because I've read for thousands and thousands of people. And I mean, I'm such a huge supporter of the LGBTQ community. So many of my close friends are in those letters, you know. So you know, they're just labels. It makes people feel better to have labels. So it says the lovers represents mutual desire. They herald healthy partnerships, unions born of consent and enthusiasm. There is attraction and passionate exploration fueled by a mutual curiosity signified by the apples. The presence of the apples in this deck serve as a symbol of curiosity fulfilled and of maturity. The relationship feels like paradise, and all parties seem to be getting what they want and need. A healthy balance is struck between desire and promise, wishing and fulfillment. And in the reverse, it says the lovers reversed warns of broken unions, a cycle of mutual desire and benefits. I think he's trying to say beneficial. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I think there's a typo here. Is broken. Beneficence, is that a word? A cycle of mutual desire and beneficence is broken, leaving one or all involved parties feeling incomplete and bereft. The card may also indicate that a partnership has stagnated and begun to fester without proper care and attention, can eat and be forever. So this could even be, you know, and I don't know if this is for you, Christy, but this is interesting because this, I just got, when I was reading this, I just also saw it could be somebody that you're with is going for their same sex. And that's confusing to you because you're like, what? Or maybe you guys broke, or maybe you broke up because they're afraid to tell you that they actually want to be with the same sex. So I don't know how this aligns for you, but that is very, 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 very interesting. Let me see if there's any more cards. Do we have any more cards? Spirit, do you have any more cards for this one? Ooh, this one's in reverse. Oh, no, it's not in reverse. Oh, that's so weird. It looked reversed to me. So number 1, the Magician. I'm going to put this here because I feel like this is you in the card. I mean, we're talking about you being a spiritual warrior, and now you're the Magician. It could also be that maybe you're going to find companionship. Maybe you're going to have an emotional affair. I have a friend, he's feminine and I'm more tomboy. Interesting. Are you in a romantic entanglement at all? That's so interesting. Because look at how isn't it funny that we just brought like I can't talk, I'm all excited. The Magician is like, this feels very masculine, right? This looks like a man, right? So, and it's interesting that you just said you're a tomboy. So is this something that you've thought about, or have you dated women before? Or have you had sex with women before? Have you experienced it? I mean, you know, when I moved to LA, so I moved to LA, and one of my best friends, my husband, my gay husband, we had been best friends since high school, and he and I were both living in LA. And so I basically lived in West Hollywood, even though I lived in like Hollywood and then I moved to Sherman Oaks in the Valley. I would always like go stay with him, and like, because I didn't want to drink and drive, especially when I moved to the Valley. I'm not going to be taking the fucking, you know, hills drunk, right? So I would spend the night, and he and I would like go out to the bars and stuff. So I was always in the gay bars, in the lesbian bars. I was always for a long period of time. And then even when I moved back to Chicago and I was living downtown, I worked at a restaurant, another one of my gay husbands. Same thing, like I was always in gay bars. I just preferred being in gay bars. I felt more like myself, because, not to throw flowers at myself, but like I'm, you know, when I'm all dolled up, I know what I look like. I'm not stupid, right? You know, so I had more fun in the gay bars because I wasn't getting hit on every 5 minutes, you know, some guy trying to like shag me or whatever. I just could just go there and be free. I remember one time I was dancing and I was so hot, and my friend was like, are you wearing your black bra? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, take your shirt off. He goes, that bra looks, it was when the water bras came out. This was like 20 years ago. And he's like, it looks like you're wearing a bathing suit top. Nobody would know the difference. And he goes, plus you're in a gay bar. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And I was like, okay, so, oh crap. You said yes, but I don't remember to which question. Can you please tell me again? I asked a lot of questions and then I was talking. You said yes. But I just think it's really interesting that you said that you're a tomboy and that out of the lovers card we pulled two. You're working together on opening a women's shelter. Oh, that's so interesting. How powerful. If you didn't catch the beginning of this, the first reading I did was for Jessica, and Jessica's one of our regular tribe members, and I know she'd be okay with me sharing this with you. But that's really interesting that you spoke about that, because she was being drawn to write a book about her experience. She was in a really horrific marriage where her husband and the father of her children was an abuser, like really bad, like really, really, like he tried to kill her, like really bad, really scary. And so she was getting pulled to write a book about it, about her experience. So I think it's really interesting that you're talking about working on opening a women's shelter. There's a new feature that came out on YouTube, and I put it on my channel. You're able to express yourself with him sexually, because that's interesting too, because I have a friend who's straight, but she has sex with her gay friend. They have sex a lot because he misses having sex with women, and she feels like she can be, she likes to use a strap on. I mean, it's okay. And she likes to dominate. She likes to do that. She likes to, and that's part of her, whatever, like, and like I always say to people, if everybody's on board and it's all safe and you feel good, you're obviously, the fact that you said you're able to express yourself with him says a lot. That's really, really interesting. I really hope this reading is helping you. And, you may even want to draw him to this as well if he's, because there might be some hidden messages for him in here. Or maybe for you guys to get this deck if you are a reader as well. It's a really powerful deck. Every time I work with this deck, I just feel so much closer to our souls and our humanity, because this man, woman, like these limitations that we've put on ourselves. Oh, you're growing feelings. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It happens. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. That's why I said this one's more androgynous. I feel like this one has an because otherwise I feel like there'd be like more of like you can see that there's like a breast in the side view, and then like here there's like, I feel like they would be like showing like more of like a breast, but I feel like, I mean, obviously we all have breasts. You know what I mean? Like we all have nipples. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this one specifically though, there's a reason for this card. It's an androgyny card, and it's about like, where do you fit in? Well, that's the whole point. We're trying to break the norms. The fact that the American government is trying so hard to like bring it, let's make America great again. No, they just want to go back to like, let's make it easier. And when we're like, but we are complex as human beings, we're fucking complex. We're complex beings. We are here for a reason. And if you found yourself on this channel, whether it's for a second or you become a new subscriber and a member and part of our tribe, right? It's like the world is changed. They want to go back to, let's go back to power and greed and control. Let's go back to slavery. Let's go back to, I mean, I recorded a video. I haven't put it out yet, but I recorded a video when the sitting president didn't do anything for Juneteenth. I lost my fucking noodle. I lost my noodle. Not gonna lie, I lost my fucking noodle. I was like, Spirit, I'm sorry. I recorded so many videos, and then finally the last one, when I had to calm down, they're like, okay, you can put that one out. And I don't know when they're gonna have me put it out. But I was so frustrated because I was like, how do you say that you are a fascist and a slave, like, and you know what I mean? Like, how can you say you're a fascist without saying you're a fascist? I'm like, oh, okay, let's ignore Juneteenth. Let's ignore Juneteenth. Because the whole point of it is it was about the freedom of slavery. Of course, it was more African American, but there was so many different, like, quote unquote, race cultures, even white people, like, right? Like, we were slaves too. Like, we were slaves too. We've all been slaves. And there is history in Africa where there were white slaves in Africa that were taken from Europe and brought to Africa, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. People don't want to talk about things. Why do you think Hitler wanted to erase history and like burn like paintings and books? And, you know, why do you think that they, whenever archaeologists find certain things, they're either put and locked away somewhere or they're burned and destroyed? They don't want people to see that we've lived here before. You know, when these archaeologists are like, so this is 26,000 years old. From everything that we've studied and over all this time, this building is 26,000 years old. They're like, so can somebody please explain to me that how this was built with lasers? Because they're like, only a laser can cut this precisely. They didn't have the tools back then, as we were told, right? Cave people, that we come from cave people and all this shit. It's like, well, which one is it? Are we fucking cave people or are we Adam and Eve? Like, make up your mind. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, which book do you believe? Like, I remember when I would fight with my mom and really get in like heated discussions with my mom about the Bible. And I would say like, you know, all these things and why I was kicked out of Sunday school and why I was kicked out of my church and all that. Because I was just like, why were you so sheepishly, you know, follow and believe something, yet you are proven, there's evidence that there are other forms of religion? And my mom would say, because the Bible's the only one, those are all fake. I'm like, so, but why is yours real? Why is yours real? So what, couldn't we just say that theirs are real too? What, yours is fake. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? But it's, again, the ego. I'm right. I'm the one. I'm the blah, blah, blah. And you know, that's interesting that you say that, Christy, about what you're going through. That makes a lot of sense, because now that I'm getting to know you more, now that you're like allowing more in, and thank you for bringing your walls down and sharing this with us. It's really important, because you are, by doing that, you're being a leader and showing everybody else that it's okay to be different. It's okay to change. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change who you are. I know I've been going through so much lately, because I'm like, I look in the mirror, I'm like, I don't know who I am, but I don't know what I'm not either. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I feel like I need to go somewhere and just have somebody give me a makeover. Just color and cut my hair, like somebody who's like an expert in their field, right? Like I'm an expert in my field, or I shouldn't say I'm an expert, right? Because there's my ego, but I'm very knowledgeable in my field. I'm not an expert. Some would say I was an expert, but I don't know if I'd call myself an expert, but I'd say I've been studying now for a good 13 years, 14 years. I have been studying, and I've been working as a medium for 10 years. But I struggle, right? Like, I don't live high on the hog. I don't have, if my partner didn't work, I would be home free, right? You know, like I do make money from my spirit work, but I haven't made it to that point yet. I will eventually. But you know, in the meantime, it's like I'm doing the things that I was brought here to do. I walk the old way. When Spirit asked me to go live on Sundays, I was like, holy shit, they want me to commit to something every single week. This is episode 8. So for 8 weeks straight, we have gathered here every, you know, noon, and we haven't always done readings, right? Like, we've done a lot of different things. So, you know, it's like we this is what we're meant to do. You know, we are meant to walk the righteous path and show people you can walk the righteous path and still have the life that you want. You don't have to live, you know, oh, look at that card is moving again. Oh, I feel like this is you too, right? Like, you're such a star. But show the world that it's okay to be who you are. Show, like, fuck this mirror. Who cares what you look like? Who cares who you fuck? Who cares who you love? Like, you know, it's your journey. It's your path. It is no one else's story but yours. And this goes for all of us. Insert your name and your story here. This is all of our journey. This is a spiritual journey. And it's not about the ending. It really is about the journey, because the ending is you're dead. So, you know, it's like there's not some, you know, mythical place that you're gonna, it's like we're living in the magic every moment. We get to decide. That's what free will is for. And a lot of people are afraid to be themselves and afraid to come out. And people like the American president and other people like him want to push people back in the closet, want to push people back in. The reason why I align with the LGBTQ community so much is because I was the same. It wasn't about my sexuality, though the very first tattoo I ever got was an AIDS ribbon, and everybody was like, oh, I knew it. I always knew. I'm like, why? Because I'm different? So you just assume I'm gay? You know, I'm like, because I didn't always have boyfriends, you just assume I'm gay? I'm like, I was still getting laid. I was still having fun. I was still doing the things I wanted to do, but I wasn't always in a relationship. the serial daters, the serial relationships. It's like, no, take some time for yourself. The best time I ever had in my life was 7 years that I was single. And when I wanted to get laid, I went and got laid. When I wanted to, have someone like you were talking about your best friend. I had so many husbands. One of my favorite husbands, I actually just spoke about him earlier, like a few readings ago. I think it was when we used this, I don't know if we used this deck or we used some other deck, but anyway, I was talking about my one friend, and he and I used to make out in the gay bars all the time. And he was like, ew, bleh. Like he would be like, oh, vaginas are messy. Like he'd be like, they're so gross. He's like, I don't understand them. But he, and it's okay. This was a long time ago and he was from a different generation, and, he didn't mean it like that. He was just saying like, he didn't understand it. Like he didn't understand it. Like he never had any, like, he never wanted that. Like he never felt that connection, because I would tease him and I'd be like, but you will, do other things. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I don't know. I just think it's just odd to me. He's like, that's where babies come from. And I would tease him and I'd be like, yeah, well, that's where poop comes from. And like, we would like get like really real about it. And I'm sorry if this is TMI for some people. But we would like joke and whatever. But at the end of the day, we just loved each other as people. And he was my confidant and my best friend. And one time we were out and we just had like the best night out ever. And we were super drunk and we were on our way home in a cab. We were going to get food. We were going to a restaurant. And he was like, he used to call me Pooh, but like Winnie the Pooh, like Pooh, because he was like, you're so cute and tender, like Winnie the Pooh. He's like, oh, Pooh. And so one day he was like, I'm sorry, but he's like, you are so hot right now. He's like, can I kiss you? He's like, I'm curious. He's like, you're so sexy. He's like, I'm curious to know what you kiss like. And I was like, all right, and so we kissed and we ended up making out, and that became our thing. And we made out all the time. Like we'd be in the gay bars making out and like nobody would even think anything of it. And so my one friend, she got really like fucking weird about it, because she was like, doesn't he have AIDS? And I looked at her and I said, I'm not going to have this discussion with you. And that was it. And we never spoke about it again. And I just was like, people don't understand everything. And I was like, he has HIV. And yes, we can kiss. And yes, it's okay. It's okay. And I never contacted it. I must have made out with him, I don't know, a handful of times at least over our friendship. And then I moved away and we lost touch over the years. And he was much older than me, and he ended up, he and his partner ended up like retiring to some small town somewhere. I think about him all the time. I hope he's okay. I hope he's still alive. It sounds weird, but I can't remember his last name. I've tried looking for him and I'm like, I cannot for the life of me remember his last name. So I just think, you know what? He was just meant to be in my life at that time, at that place, and, whatever. But he gave me what I needed, and I gave him what he needed, sometimes, because sometimes you just want to be cuddled, or sometimes you just want to, it was sexual without being sexual. I don't know how to explain it. And that's the thing, is that why do we have to keep fucking explaining how we feel or what we want or what we need or what feels good? By the way, I saw 2151. So if that's an angel number for anybody, and if you ever hear me yell out numbers, that's what that means. So I feel like either this message was for you or this was for all of us. One of my friends, she's a tarot reader and she's really, really powerful. And I remember when I told her that my partner, who I'm a woman and he's a man, identified, however you want to say it, he's definitely my twin flame. And in other lifetimes, we've been together for sure. But I see us together. I've seen us together as two women. I've seen us together as two men, so sometimes people, they come into your life for a minute and some stay for a lifetime. But anyway, I remember arguing with her because she said, you're going to end up with a woman. And I said, no, I'm sorry. I'm not saying, because she was bi. And I said, dude, I think you're projecting right now, because I've been with women and I said, he's it. Like he's the one. But then, over the years, I started to think about it and I was like, you know what, maybe she's right. I'm like, maybe he and I will be together. And I always hope I'll go first, right? You always hope that you'll go before the person you love because you don't want to imagine a world without them. But I thought, you know what? She may be right. Like, maybe he'll go first and I will end up with a woman. I don't know, but all I do know is that love is love. And I just saw a fly. A fly just came in here, and then I just saw that ant come back. So that's really interesting. So work with fly spirit medicine and ant spirit medicine. And I kind of feel like we're going to leave it there, but let me see if there's any more that want to come out. Okay, I feel like this one, hold on. And if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you want to ask a question, just because you come on the screen doesn't mean I can't see you. I can't, right? Love is love. Exactly. Love is love. And my one friend that I was telling you about, when she started having sex with her gay best friend, I was like, I was more upset that because when they first started, she was having threesomes with the couple. And all three of them, and it was like one of those things that just kind of happened. She was always quote unquote straight, but she used to be a dancer. She was an exotic dancer at a straight club. And then she started working as a bartender at an LGBTQ club. And because I'm not even going to say it's a gay bar, because it's literally like, it's like for everybody kind of bar. And then she met this couple. I don't remember if they owned the bar or they worked there or something, but it's been a long, 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 long time ago, many moons ago. And I don't know, I don't remember. But anyway, long story short, they were same thing, like kind of how me and Dougie. She was partying with them, and one night they just got frisky, and the three of them. And so she was like, and she was in a committed relationship to a straight man. And I said to her, I'm like, you better, I'm like, cause she is a light worker. And I was like, dude, that's karma too. I'm like, just be honest about it. I always say to people, I don't give a fuck what you do. Just be honest about it, because it's not nice to keep the other person in the dark. And I speak from personal experience, because my partner, is a recovered sex addict, and I know what it's like to feel quote unquote cheated on, and I know what that feels like to, and for the other person too, it's just be honest. That's all I'm asking, and that's all Spirit is saying. Just always be honest all the way, all the way. If you don't like the way something feels, say no. Make sure you have a safe word, say, I don't like that. I don't like that. I went through sex therapy for a lot of, because, if you're new here and you don't know this about me, but I was sexually molested by family members. I was raped by people I trusted. I was raped by, I was date raped. I mean, I've been, sadly, a lot of people are like, wow, how can that happen? I'm like, because I was always so open and friendly and loving, and like, just, I never had any fear. And looking back on it now, it's because I've always felt my angels around me. I always felt, I've been in some pretty seedy situations, but I always got out of it okay, and then the times that I was raped, it was for me to understand like what part I was playing in that, and also how it helped me work through other things. So I ended up working with a sex therapist. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Christy shared that she was raped too. And, so many of us have been raped. And just so you know, my husband, my partner, the reason why he became a sex addict is because he was raped from the time he was 3 years old by family members, and he had some really dark, twisted, sick fuckers, man, in his family. And I mean, I can't even begin to understand or fathom that. I can't. I just can't. And so, when we are raped or molested at a young age, a lot of times we use sex as a tool for healing, but also for release. And there's just so many like facets, behind it. This fly is like trying to get out. I'm trying to help him. Here you go, buddy. Go out this window. I'm actually going to put this crystal here so I can keep this window open for him. It feels like a very strong male energy. Isn't that funny that we just said that about? Women rape too, women rape too. And I say this to people all the time. I'm like, it's not just men that rape, women rape too. They're like, oh, you can't rape the willing, ha ha ha. And I'm like, yes, well, but also having an erection is a very, your male friend was raped as well. Yeah, you know, an erection is like a natural thing. So men, you know, the divine masculine, you know, body embodied, right? That phallus, like that, it can't help itself sometimes, right? Like it just reacts. That's why when women are giving massages, men get embarrassed and they're like, it's not, don't be embarrassed. You know, it's like you're being touched. It's an arousal. It's like, you know, it's a thing. So my partner was raped from the time he was 3. Then when he was in his early 20s, I think he was like 20 or 21, he had a roommate that was gay. And he, the sad thing is they were both drugging at the time. So it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or bi. If you're a drug addict, you're a drug addict. It doesn't matter. And he could hate gay men because he roofied him. His roommate roofied him and raped him. And he did it more than once. So he didn't understand what had happened to him. And he would get so fucked up and they'd be on drugs and drinking and things like that, that he just assumed that like he just did something stupid or something happened. Like he could feel, because I was like, I wasn't trying to be invasive, but I was like, how do you not know you weren't raped? Like, just because I've had anal sex, and I'm like, dude, it fucking hurts. And it's like, that's like I feel like you would have known, you know what I mean? But I think he knew, but he just didn't want to admit it to himself. And then finally, he woke up to him raping him again. And he like beat him within an inch of his life. Like he almost killed him. So, you know, that's when he told me, he goes, I can understand why a lot of straight men don't like gay men. He's like, because a lot of gay men try to, you know, change them. I'm like, in my experience, they're very few and far between. That's not, you know, that's not true. I'm like, I mean, that happened to him. Yes. But I just have been around that energy in that community for so long, and it's just not something that happens a lot. In my experience, okay? So somebody else might be like, that's, you know, blah, blah, blah. But so, you know, that's, all of us are living through different trauma and tragedy, and, you know, rape is so violating. You know, almost every time I was raped as an adult, I was intoxicated or roofied. So I kind of knew what was going on. Or like one situation, when I tried to leave, I realized that there was no way I was going to, I realized that I was either going to die or I was going to have to just take it. And I put myself in that situation. And I mean, you know, there are a few times in my life that I felt like I was going to die by the hands of somebody else. There are only a few times, but that was one of them. And as horrific as it was, I just took it. And you know, the sad thing is that even then I knew what I was, but I didn't know what I was. And a lot of times I put myself in really dangerous and really fucked up situations because I wanted to die. And I wanted to be a victim, because then maybe people would be nicer to me, or they would leave me alone, because I was tired of hearing these voices in my head and my family saying that I should be on medication. I was schizophrenic. Or I'd be like, did you guys hear that? Or did you guys see that? And they'd be like, no. And then it became the thing like, none of us heard it but you. Like, you're the problem. And so because I didn't have anyone around me to help me figure out what and who I was, I started to then want to die. And recently, I was in a store and I heard this song by Elton John, someone save, someone save, someone save my life tonight. And I just started bawling, because one of the times I tried to kill myself, my mom saved me. and that song was on, and I was really drunk, and I was like, just let me die, Mom, like, just let me die. I don't belong here. I'm like, because I used to like get in her face and be like, I don't belong here. I'm like, I feel it. I know you feel it too. I'm like, I need to go. I'm like, wherever I am belong, or wherever I'm from. I'm like, and my mom would be like, what are you talking about? Like, where are you from? Like, like she didn't understand, right? She's like, family was the worst. Yeah, I mean, it was just like, so I heard that song and I started to cry in the store, and I was like, oh, Mom, because now, my mom passed last year. And I just had this moment where my mom, oh, I'm starting to cry, because I remember my mom saying to me, you don't know whose life you're going to change. And I know you're scared, and I know you don't understand who you are or why you're here. She's like, but, of course she goes to her Bible. She's like, but the Lord will show you your purpose, and you're not meant to die. If you were, you'd be dead. And she's like, and I may not understand you or agree with you or what you believe in. She's like, but you're here to do something really powerful. She's like, it's just not your time. And then years later, it's like, remembering like my grandma, my mom's mom, on her deathbed saying, like, she was on medication because she was crazy, she was a schizophrenic and all this, but on her deathbed she said to me, you're going to change the world. And when my mom said that to me, I remember thinking, that's what grandma said. And we're all here, we are walking each other home, we are like helping each other right now. Like, we're the weirdos, the freaks, like, we're here to let everybody know that, like, the conformity is the freak part. The conformity is the weird part. We're not meant to be conformists. We're not meant to be like, everybody else. We're meant to be who we are. Oh my gosh. What the fuck? Did you guys hear that? That's on my roof of my tiny home. And that sounded like a person. But there's no one here but me. That's so crazy. So that's some entity like talking to us right now, right? And the craziest thing was, like, after that song stopped playing in the store, another song came on by Elvis. And my dad was a massive Elvis fan. He's also crossed over. And I was like, oh my God, what are you guys doing to me? I mean, it was just like, you know what I mean? It was like, actually, no, you're right, Mom. My mom's like, no, it was actually, I heard someone saved my life tonight, and I was crying. And I'm like trying to walk through the aisles and no one see me crying. Not that I care if somebody sees me cry, but I just don't want to, I didn't want to, when you're like crying and somebody talks to you, but it makes you cry like 100 times more. Like, I knew if anybody talked to me, I would just like lose it in the Marshalls. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay. So I was like walking around, and then like right after that song was "We Are Family." I've got all my sisters with me, and my mom and my aunt and my grandmother have all passed. And they were like, I was, out of all of my family, they were the ones I was the closest to. My grandma and my aunt were always like, they always said, like, because my name's Tallulah Kelly, but my birth name is Kelly. So like my aunt used to say, Kelly just walks to the beat of her own drum. Like, just leave her be. Like, she's her own person. Like, let her be who she is. Like, we may not understand it, but like my aunt was always really loving and like really supportive that way. And my grandma was always weird, but she didn't know what she was or why she was like that, or, but looking back on it now, I'm like, no, my grandma was a medium. She wasn't fucking crazy. She wasn't a schizophrenic. She was a medium. She just didn't know, because her Southern Baptist, fucking church told her that, like, that would make her a demon. And that's why I had to stop talking to my family, because I was like, the more I came into my gifts, the more they were like, oh, you're feeding into that. Like, you're feeding into the devil. You're working for the devil. And I'm like, you know what? If that's what you believe, then there's nothing I could say about that. You know what I mean? Like, then whatever. So as I'm listening to that song, and I'm like walking through the store, and I'm like laughing, and I was like picturing my mom, and it was like that scene in, like, I forget which Star Wars movie it was. I think it was like an Empire. No, I think it was it the third one, the original series, right? Where like Yoda and like Darth Vader, like, and Anakin, like they were all like in spirit, and they were looking at Luke, That's kind of how it felt. I felt like all three, because we love to shop and we love to bargain shop. And we were all day, I was looking for, I was going to thrift stores and going to like Marshall's and Sierra and like all these like stores like TJ Maxx, looking for the things I need, because I'm not going to pass up a bargain. It's new to me. Um, and then after that, then that Elvis song came on, and it was If I Could Dream. And I felt like my dad and my ancestors were just like, don't give up, like keep moving forward, keep pressing forward, don't give up. And obviously, I mean, you pulled the Magician. It's the number one in the deck. And you found yourself here. Well, actually, the Fool is technically, sorry, the Fool is the number one. And it's number one, the Magician, but the Fool doesn't have a number, right? So the Magician says, the Magician makes efficient use of all available tools. While the Fool daydreams of grand possibility, the Magician takes the steps necessary to realize those dreams. There is planning and intentionality involved, as well as resourcefulness and a clarity of purpose. While the Fool relies on luck, the Magician knows luck favors the prepared. But also, I just heard luck favors the brave. My one friend that I was talking about earlier, she used to say it all the time. She gave it to me in like a little plaque too. The luck favors the brave. And I feel like that's a message for you as well, right? Like, be brave. Be brave enough to like stand in your truth and stand in who you are. And it's okay to be your awesome, awesome self. Like, we want you to be what you were brought here to be, whatever that is. But at the same time, just don't lose your focus, like don't lose your focus that you and your purpose of why you were brought here. I mean, even this feels like, like a staff, you know what I mean? Like that they're trying to show you like, and it has a star on it. You pulled the star card. It's like you have the star card, you have a star there, but like you said, you're the warrior. You're a spirit warrior. You're a light worker. Like I always tell people, not all light workers are earth angels, but all earth angels are light workers. So you have to ask yourself, are you an earth angel? Are you a light worker? You know what I mean? As above, so below. Exactly, right? Yes. It's like you're bringing the magic, but don't forget that like the magic is given to you. You are a vessel carrying the magic here on earth. So I don't want you to change who you are. Spirit doesn't want you to change who you are. We want you to stay as awesome as you fucking are. We need your wit, your savvy, your beauty. You know what I mean? Like you said, you're like outwardly you're female, but you're a tomboy. I mean, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to like Demi Lovato and Billie Eilish. And it's kind of interesting that they had me use a Billie Eilish song for this video, because I always do like a little promo video to let people know that we're going live and stuff. And so I put that out in my shorts. Always check out, like, I post in the shorts almost every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. So check out that too. Make sure you subscribe and share and all that. I always tell people, it makes a difference subscribing and sharing and liking. It's not in everybody's wheelhouse to contribute to the spiritual work I do on this channel, whether through Venmo or my Amazon list, but prayers are free, and sharing is free, and subscribing is free, and liking is free, and commenting is free. Oh, Angelina Jolie. Oh, I love her. Yeah, she's a Gemini. Are you a Gemini as well? That's so interesting if you are, because my partner is a triple Gemini and his moon's in Sag, and I'm a triple Sag and my moon's in Scorpio. So we are like, I mean, it's twin flames on fucking steroids. He and I swear to God, and he was born on Sunday and I was born on Moon Day. Like but like I said, I see us, and we've been together for 10 years, and we struggle. Like, we haven't had sex in, I don't even know how many, it's been years since we've had sex. You're a Gemini. Oh, I love it. And I think Geminis, out of all the zodiac signs, probably in my experience, struggle the most. Not with fidelity so much, but just like, because my friend that I was telling you about, she's a Gemini too. And one of my shamans was a Gemini. One of my most powerful shamans I ever walked with. I walked with her for 2 years, and she's a gypsy witch, Native American. Like, she had one side of her family were like old, like gypsies and witches. And another side of her family is like Native American Cherokee, which I'm Cherokee as well. She's 3 generations, like outwardly, like shamans, like they're hands-on healers. She's a pipe bringer. She brings the peace pipe to people. She's really powerful. You know, she like goes all over. She travels in Tortuga, her car. She used to call Tortuga, which means turtle, because she was like, I live in my car, like I live in my shell. You know, I live because she's always bringing the medicine and getting the medicine. And so that's what we do as light workers. You know, we're medicine bringers. We're here. You know, we all have a purpose. We all have a place right now. You know, even those that may harm us or wish us harm or wish, you know, that we weren't alive, or but all we are is big fat mirrors in front of their faces. You know, I mean, most of the people like doth do protest too much, right? Like, why does the American president want control? Because he's never really had control. Because we know that if he wants it, he has to take it. He even said it. He admitted if he wanted pussy, he had to fucking take it. He literally, I mean, it's like something like that. It's like to say something to be recorded, and it, you know, and people are like, oh, that's a fake recording, it was never. I'm like, oh please. I'm like, come on. You know, I mean, I'm not going to lie, though. I will say this. There are some things that the sitting president, some of the things they've done or said over the years, I loved that show. I thought it was hilarious. And we gave him the power, right? We're like, oh, you're fired. Ha ha ha, you're fired. Well, yeah, look it. And he went from being that to like, that was his plan all along. You know, people, you know, he literally hires people to observe people and to observe history and to observe so many things they've done are from Hitler's playbook. It's not, it's freakish. It's freakish. I'm like, go look at it, you guys. Like, go look at it. Do I think he's him? No. But I'm just saying, like, he's taking the same kind of tactics, trying to rule, trying to control, trying to, you know, making jokes. Oh, I want to buy Canada. Oh, I want to blah, 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 until it's not a real joke anymore, is it? They're like, no, I really want to do that. And then the Canadians are like, haha, well, that's not funny. I know you're not going to buy us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let the fakery and the fuckery, let it all play itself out, you guys. It's all going to play itself out right now. So let it happen. Let it be, you know. I want to see if Spirit wants me to pull any more. I started to pull cards, but I have this feeling it might be for a picker reading. So let me ask Spirit, because I've had a handful of blueberries and a handful of nuts since like Friday night. So I've been fasting, and I mean, I wanted to. It was like part of Spirit's divine plan and everything. But I can feel that I'm starting to like dwindle, and I can feel that like I'm slowing down. So let me see. Do you want me to? There were 2 cards on top. Do you want me to read those cards for anybody? Is it in anyone's greatest and highest good for me to pull any more cards before I end this session today? Okay. Do we want to parlay this into a picker reading to go deeper into some meanings for people? Okay, I heard there's going to be a picker reading, but they're not having me. They're telling me to zip it, and that's it. So is that it for today? Okay. Is there any other like last lingering questions that you may have, Christy? Anything to wrap it up? Because we're going to wrap it up. And thank you for being, I always call them the anchors. Whenever people come here and they stay here for a while, thank you for being an anchor and for putting your life out there for us to learn from, because that's all we are. We are here to learn from each other, grow from each other, with each other. You know, it's all part of the process. Drink some water. I'm so excited to eat. I have all this beautiful food. My partner went out and bought me all this beautiful food yesterday. I went on like a little bit of a junk food extravaganza. Okay, this card is out. So it just jumped out. And it is the 10 of Chalices. Oh my gosh. So I feel like this is the last card. So the 10 of Chalices. So now this card only has one representation of love. Right? But look at that. Isn't that interesting that you asked about love? And I feel like Spirit's like, you are going to come into that divine unity that you're seeking. You will. And, you know, it's basically 10 of Chalices is the 10 of Cups. And it doesn't get any fucking better than the 10 of Cups. I mean, it really doesn't. Right? Like wish fulfillment, like everything that you've ever wanted and desired. Look at, there's a kingdom in the background. Yeah, I feel like, and this could even be like, have you and your friend, have you guys spoke about having children together? Because I've also known a lot of people who've done that as well. where they, and this has been going on through history, where people would get married. And so on the surface, everybody thinks that they're like a husband and wife, right? But like in secret, they have their own relationships. But on the surface, like they have children together, or they have, because I'm not saying you are going to have children, but I did see, like, when I saw this initially, I saw an angel like watching over your divine union. Oh, you both have children. Okay. So I saw an angel looking over you guys as like a divine union. But then also, we had somebody new. I can't see you, by the way, so don't get freaked out. But you're free to comment if you want to, though, and you can ask any questions if you want. We're wrapping it up. But I did kind of see children when all of a sudden I saw children when I saw the house, when I saw the castle. So it could be like that maybe you guys are meant to divinely create a child, or it could be that, but not with each other's yet. Yeah. Have your kids, oh, that's what I was just going to ask you. Is that what you were saying? Have your children met each other yet? Do they know the two of you like exist in each other's lives? What a pretty picture. What a magical life you have. And lean into it too. I'm seeing like black pants and like comfortable like jean type pants and like a black belt and like it's probably your outfit. Your children haven't met each other yet. How long have you known him or them, or I don't know what they go by? But yeah, it really did help, when we started going into the they movement. I think that was really powerful, even though I will say this though, my only, like, I will say, and I guess that would be my own personal judgment on it, but I got frustrated when people would get mad about it. I'm like, you know what? I understand that this is your generation and whatever, but I'm like, we didn't have that in our generation. So like, give people like myself, I'm 53, like give us a break. We didn't grow up that way. We didn't know. Oh, he's wearing black today. Oh, that's so funny. Cause I know it's going to sound weird, but I literally only saw the pants. I was like trying to picture the outfit, and I was seeing like these black kind of baggy jean type pants with like a black belt, and it felt very masculine. The belt felt very masculine. You've only known each other for a few months. That's interesting. So, well, maybe before you introduce your kids to each other, maybe when I also saw the number 6, maybe that wasn't just about your mentor. Maybe give it 6 months to kind of see where this goes or what happens. In fact, I would probably, I mean, it depends on your kids' ages too, and their maturity levels, because you're 36. I don't know how they are, but if you have, like, I was a very mature teenager with glitter. Oh, cute. I love it. Their pants have glitter, or the belt, or they're wearing glitter. What's the glitter part? I love glitter. I love glitter so much. Because in my chart, I'm 70% masculine. So I'm very masculine. But on the outside, I'm like blonde, blue-eyed, like on the outside, I look like an all-American girl. You know what I mean? I'm very girly. I like to dress girly. But I stopped wearing makeup and doing my hair. But now when I put makeup on and I do my hair, it's like I feel like I look like a movie star. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm beautiful. You know what I mean? But I mean, I'm beautiful no matter what. But there's definitely something about that right now. And not to mention that all of us are going through such massive transformations. All of us. All of us. So I have girls 16 and 3. Wow. And he has boys. Interesting. So I could see that. That's probably why I said that, because I feel like your 16-year-old super fucking mature. And not only that, but I feel like your 3-year-old kids now, like the kids that are coming into the world now, they're from a different light source, man. You know what I mean? So like, it'll be fine. Like there'll be a time that it won't be weird or it won't be strange. His pants and shirt and shoes have glitter. That's awesome. That's so great. Are you guys hanging out together? Are you watching this together right now? Because that's even more interesting. If you are, that's kind of cool. But I definitely feel like you guys are going to end in like, it's either you guys or like they're trying to show you. It could also be, so just be open to this, okay? This could be from a past life from you guys. You may have because sometimes you meet somebody in the grocery store and you're like, I feel like I've known you my whole life, and you've only been talking for 5 minutes, but you're like, I feel like I've known you my whole life. You probably did. You probably knew them in another life, but like in this, like, if you believe in soul contracts, which I do, I believe that we do like map everything out before we come here. And the free will part is like, am I going to have fucking macaroni and cheese for dinner tonight, or am I going to have a salad? Like, that's your free will, like, you know what I mean? But like, are you going to make it to that destination? If you're meant to make it to that destination at that time, at that place, you will find a way, whether in person or online or something, somehow, some way. So it could even be that, you guys may possibly have a past life connection, where that's why you can't explain why you're connected to each other, or why you're drawn to each other. And it could even be that like you were a gay woman in another lifetime, and he was a gay woman in another lifetime, and you guys are attracted to each other. We act like we knew each other forever. Yeah. So just be mindful as you're going through this process. Just be really mindful and stay as grounded as possible. You were meant to come here for a reason today. And I mean, like I said, I don't pull this. I have 30 plus decks. I don't always pull this deck out. This is like, there are a few decks that I have that they just don't see the light of day very often. And there's a reason why, because they're very powerful. They have a lot of medicine. They have a lot of truth in them. And some people aren't ready for that. Oh, that's so good that he's into spirituality. See, because that's even that. Like, and again, I'm not slighting your connection or your physical attraction, okay? But like right there, right? So say like, I'm a vegan, right? But if I didn't have access, God forbid, right? Goddess forbid. Oh, Isis and Osiris. Oh, girl, look at this. Isis is like one of my favorite. This is my pendulum with labradorite on it. Isis is my girl, right? And Isis is like all about love and all that good stuff. But remember that sometimes when we're starved for something, we might just take something. So what I was going to say is I'm vegan. But if I hadn't eaten for like, let's just say days or weeks or whatever, and I was so hungry, if someone gave me chicken, I'm going to fucking eat it. I would eat it. My stomach might revolt it. I don't know. But I would probably eat it because I'd be like, I need to fucking eat, and beggars can't be choosers. And if you don't got anything else for me to eat, this is what I got. I'm going to eat it. So sometimes when we're coming into our gifts or working through our spirituality, people are like, and I'm saying this to you from personal experience. You meet somebody and you're like, oh, we're best friends. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're best friends and we must have known each other in another life. But you could just be connected because you're finding somebody who's aligning with your energy. Also, levels of consciousness play a big part into that, right? So when you meet somebody who's at the same level of consciousness that you are at, it feels like a divine connection. Because finally somebody gets you, somebody understands you, and it doesn't matter what their sexual orientation is. It doesn't matter what they align with on the inside, outside, all of the above, right? Like if you're aligned with that person, you're like, my partner and I, like, I mean, I'm not going to tell you our whole story, but all I can tell you is that like my friends were like, dude, he's homeless. I'm like, so, and I'm like, a lot of people live like that now. I'm like, and this was, 10 years ago. And I'm like, he chooses it. I'm like, he is a mobile mechanic and he lives out of his fucking truck. And he also has a surfboard and a kayak. Like, so like he would go and make a bunch of money, right? Like he would set up jobs through like Craigslist or whatever. And then he'd save up like maybe $1,000. And then he'd go fuck off for like days or months or whatever. And he'd go fucking surf and he'd go on his kayak. But according to my friends, even though they were all spiritual, quote unquote, they didn't understand. And they're like, I don't think he's the right person for you. And I'm like, I don't know how to explain it any other way, but to tell you that this is my fucking person. Let's put it this way. When I met him, I had like 7 or 8 really, really, really close friends in my spiritual realm. And I don't talk to any of them anymore, and he's still in my life. You know what I mean? So, I miss them, and they are doing what they're meant to do as well. Like, I'm not saying like, I'm above them. I'm just saying like, listen to your gut and listen to your instincts and your intuition, but also make sure that you use discernment, because that's the most vital part. This person may just be playing a temporary role, or they could be playing a longer role. You're like, yes, he's my person. But that's what I'm saying. Like, when you know, and you can't, and, if you're feeling that kind of connection, I don't know how much you've researched Isis and Osiris, but like those kind of, mythology, people, I don't even know if people realize too, like, I'm not saying it's not true, but all I'm saying is that, like, there's been times where I'm like, am I Jesus? You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I even had one of our clients who's in our tribe now, and I know they'd be okay with me talking about this, but one of the first times I met them, I read for them in person when I was working at Psychic Sister in Olympia, and I I literally saw them like hanging on the cross. I saw the whole thing, and at that point I had read for hundreds and hundreds of people. And to this day, I've read for now thousands and thousands of people. And I, to this day, have never seen what I saw with him. Never, never, never. I may feel Jesus energy. I work with Jesus all the time. I work with the archangels. I am an angel. Like, I get it. But like, this was different. I literally like saw him. I saw him hanging from the cross. I saw me as a crone, wiping, like washing his feet. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, if it's true, I'm like, I bet I was one of those old crones that was like washing his feet and stuff. I wasn't his mother, but like I felt like I was like his mentor or his teacher or something. Like I have a really, I have a close connection to Jesus that I can't explain to anybody. So when I saw him like that, I was like, what the fuck? Even when I went to a shaman who said, why are you walking away from your gifts? This is before I fully stepped into my gifts. She said, Jesus wants to know why you keep turning away from him. And I was like, oh, fuck you. I was like, dude, I'm not into religion, man. I'm like, you lost me there. Like, I was ready to walk out, like, sign her off. Like, she was some, kooky, like, whatever, just saying whatever to get my money. But, I mean, everything she said was, like, fucking spot on. She said things down to, like, a nickname my grandpa had for me, which, yeah, I guess she could have guessed it. But, like, come on, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, now I know what she was trying to say. Was she was just like, you have a connection to Jesus because like you're an earth angel like Jesus was, and like you have a grander purpose like Jesus, and like you have known Jesus, you worked with Jesus, you walked with Jesus. Like, so she's like, this isn't your first time. But to this day, I mean, I have said to my friend, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, he could be Jesus. I don't know. I mean, he struggles a lot and he's an empath and everything. And I'm like, I don't know. But I'm like, if you're not Jesus, then you were alive at that time, or like you are like his blood, you know what I mean? Like you're part of his lineage or something. And so that really fucked with him for a long time. It fucked with me too. And I remember I had to like apologize. Like we lost contact for a while, but then we reconnected. And I was like, I'm so sorry if I fucked with you or like fucked with your path. Or they're like, no, 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 it's okay. Like it all had to happen that way. So like sometimes we don't understand our connections to each other. So you said, I told him he's free to be his self. What I was washing my friend's feet and said to him in the dream, I have his oil. I don't understand what you're saying, but you had a dream about this person? I'm like, now that's so interesting that we're talking about Jesus and you're talking about wiping feet and all that and oil. That's so wild. It's so funny. We've had so many people come on during this, but I feel like you, me, and Jessica basically dominated this. But I do feel like this has been for everybody. I really do. Because this is just so powerful, the 10 of chalices. So I'm going to read the card just because I feel like we've gone this far. And I never stop. Oh, so you had a dream. You were washing his feet? And then you said to him something about dream and oil. Is English not your first language, or is it just like you're typing fast? And I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm saying that because we get one of the first or the first episode of Sacred Sunday, we had people from India, we had people from, I think, Sweden or Iceland, and English was not their first language. And so we were having a language barrier, but then I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that's the only reason why I asked that. I wasn't trying to be dismissive or rude or judgy or anything. I just want to make sure that all is well and that I'm saying things right. I was washing his feet and said to him, I don't have anything but oil. Holy shit. So like oil, like sexy time oil, or like anointing oil, like spiritual? Oh, shit. So remember I was telling you about my friend. So my friend, So her little threesome of her and the gay couple turned into um, her partner, her straight partner, was okay with her having sex. He was much older than her, and he was going through kind of like a midlife crisis. Oh, you're French and texting fast. Okay, cool. I had a feeling. Sometimes I can kind of tell. And just so you know, like I've taken French and I've taken Spanish, and so my French is not nearly as good. It's conversational at best and barely that. But Spanish I took for 4 years. French I took at a community course before I went to France so that I can speak to. I wanted to be able to say merci, Darian, like s'il vous plaît, just like I just wanted the niceties because I know that the Americans don't have the best reputation, and I've wanted to go to Paris my whole life, and I'd always dreamt of myself in France. Dude, just so you know, when I was in Europe, especially France, like I was following the Rose line. Like I was like I went to almost every fucking big church, like famous church. I got to see the original Notre Dame before it burned. I know it didn't burn down to the ground, but I mean, I got to see the original structure before it burned, so I feel really blessed for that. Yeah, but yeah, I love France, so I'm so glad you're here because I literally like, I see myself living in France someday. Okay, so the Ten of Chalices says, there is finally an arching sense of harmony in your life. Though the journey has been long, you have materialized your hopes and desires in ways you may not have expected. You may not have gotten everything that you wanted, but you have found love and fulfillment in the relationships you have built along the way. That's powerful. So that makes a lot of sense. So what I was going to say about my friend. So what happened was she ended up like having this illicit affair with one of the partners, and I actually pulled away from them because I was like, we were just going in different paths, and I didn't want them to feel judged, but I felt like they weren't supposed to do that, and I was just like, I was like, I felt I was supportive of it when everybody was on board, when everybody knew what was going on. I was supportive of it, but when she started seeing him in secret, um and behind her partner's back and behind his partner's back, I was like, dude, that's just fucking not cool. I'm like, you guys are being selfish. I'm like, I'm sorry. And she was like, you're being judgy. I'm like, you're right. I am. But I was like, I just don't think it's cool. I don't think that's fair, And to me, that's not being spiritual. That's being selfish. That's being greedy. And they're like, well, we just want to investigate this first before we like obliterate our relationships. And I'm like, well, if you're already investigating it and you just want to be together, then he needs to leave his partner and you need to leave your partner, and then let you guys go and decide on your own. But she was like, but I'm living with him and he's living with him. I'm like, I don't fucking care. You know what I mean? Then you move out on your own, or you move, whatever. That was just me. I just feel like, you know, I'm not God, or I'm not, Jesus, I'm not whatever, but all I know is that there is a fine line between, I don't want to say right and wrong because that's a very human way of putting it, but I just think that it's just about honesty in whatever you do in your life. It's about being truthful and honest. So as long as you guys feel like that's what you're doing and that's where you are, then I fully support it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I support you anyway, but I'm saying like I'm happy for you, if you're happy and you feel like this is where you both belong. But I would say maybe wait 6 months before you tell the kids, unless like it goes into something way more serious where you feel like, okay, let's, because even though right now it feels like it's the end all be all, there's always that slight chance that like you may take it as far as it's going to go. And then it's like, do you want to introduce him to your kids, yet? Does he have a partner? Do either of you have partners? I just realized after I just told you about my judginess, because maybe they had me tell you that for a reason. If you're both single, I always say like, let your freak flag fly, like do your thing, like be who you want to be. I love that song Creep, I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Well, I'm like, I want people to be a freak and I want people to be a weirdo, because some of my most sexual, most magical breakthrough experiences sexually was when I was doing freaky deaky shit that I wouldn't normally do or align with. Oh, I'm so glad you're both single. And it wasn't because I was going to judge you. It's just that it's just less messy, you know? But if it was, then I was going to say, then maybe this was why you were asking about it, to like, how can I go about this, the right way? But I mean, I definitely feel you guys have a past life connection for sure. For sure. Let me ask Spirit. Because my thing is that it could be that you guys are just soulmates, but not twin flames. And soulmates are okay too. And and just for those of you who may watch this, just because you're a twin flame doesn't mean that you're meant to be with that person either. A lot of people think, oh, it's my twin flame. It's like, no, sometimes your twin flame is just the mirror put in front of you to help you get to the next, place. Sometimes a twin flame is a placeholder for your soulmate. And sometimes your soulmate is a placeholder for your twin flame. So you never know. You never know. And maybe this relationship, it feels so right now and it's 2 months, and maybe it's till the end of your lives, or maybe it's something that's just going to take you guys to the next phase or next chapter of where you're going, especially now with the way that things are moving so fast. And the next 2 months, you guys, things are going to go so fast. We are going to see between when the solstice hit in June, I felt something that I haven't felt in a really long time. And I got the vibe from Spirit between now and the Lionsgate portal. Until the Lionsgate portal closes over the next 2 months, we're going to see so much fucking shit, you guys. We're going to see so much shit. So much. And by the end of this year, a lot of things are going to happen. By 2026, it's going to be a whole new world. I mean, 2025 is the number 9. 2026 is the number 10. And 10s are all about completions. And you take away that 0, it's about new beginnings. So we are here. We're going to be witness to this hierarchy and this patriarchal world crumble and shatter. Like, I mean, the American president is doing things that, it's not like he's the only president who's ever done the things that he's been doing. Other presidents have, gone buck wild and gone, off script, off grid, so to speak. But there's always certain reasons for it. And the number one thing is like, I mean, bombing a country, the only way a sitting president of the United States can bomb a country without going through Congress is if it's an immediate threat. And we were not in any immediate danger. He made a choice to bomb without. So there's going to be repercussions of that. And karma never forgets an address. She never forgets. It's her fucking job. So she's, you know what I mean? Like, let this shit on the big earth scale in all these countries, let it play out. I mean, do you think it's a coincidence that like right now, America was always known for like its democracy and its independence from this kind of like oligarchy energy, on the planet against like, the North Koreans and the Russians and things like that. It's like we've strived, especially since World War II, when we said we would never be in this position again. It's like there are certain things that like you can't just do things. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean, they've done a few things in the few months that they've been there and gone rogue that are so against everything that the American like system believes in. I mean, I know. I mean, I'm not going to get into politics and all that right now, right? But so just know that like all is well. And when you're starting to feel any fear or starting to feel like you're not sure, just be like, all is well. Spirit's got our back, right? Like, just keep saying, I believe in magic and miracles. I believe in magic and miracles. I believe in magic and miracles. And, because the third dimensional world is the fake world. The world that we live in, this is real. That world that they live in is fake. The conformity is fake. There's a YouTube channel I praise a lot. I think it's called Style for You or Style Like You. And it's all about individuality, and it's all about like all these different people and people rewriting the rules. And even in the LGBTQ community, they're getting their panties in a bunch too. Like, right? Like you're talking about this relationship right now where this would have been really taboo. Would it have been like, oh my gosh, we fought so hard to come out of the closet and be ourselves. That's why I was saying earlier why I'm so aligned to the community, because I've always been weird and different. it wasn't about my sexual orientation so much as that I've always like been this. I've always been weird. I would like watch the lottery and know the numbers coming up, you know, just like weird shit, but like I couldn't play the lottery and win. It's just like so crazy, you know, like whenever I'd try to play the lottery myself, I wouldn't see any numbers at all. But if I'm sitting on my couch, I would like be calling them off and my friends would be like, "Oh my gosh." And I really had friends who were like, let's go buy scratch offs right now." Or I had friends who'd be like, "I want to just rub you every time I hang out with you, like, and I buy a scratch off, I win like 20 bucks." I'm like, all right, you know, whatever. Like, I've always been this magical creature. We've always been these magical creatures. Everybody on earth, none of us are from here. We all come from different places in the universe or whatever you want to call it. It's a co-collective, co-consciousness. You know, we're all just broken up into these small, teeny, tiny little parts, but, you know, we're all the same, one big whole. So it's like the same of one whole, you know, so it makes sense that we would be attracted to each other. And it doesn't matter what our physical bodies look like, you know. You know, real true attraction is chemistry, and it has nothing to do with breasts or you know what I mean, or penis, or it has none of that. Like, it has nothing to do with that. So, you know, I say go with what feels good. As long as, you know, I've always said, as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not, you know, it's like there are some rules for us to live by spiritually. And it's basically just the basic ones, like don't fucking kill anybody. Don't, you know what I mean? Just like the basic stuff. Defend yourself if you have to. You know, I mean, nobody wants to kill anybody, but like if you have to defend yourself, it's like, oh my gosh, I was watching this thing where this guy was going through therapy because he's like, I murdered someone. And then his friend was like, dude, he tried to kill you. And he's like, yeah, but I still murdered somebody. Like he doesn't care that the guy tried to kill him. He's sad that he had to kill that guy. He's like, now you weren't there. He's like, you didn't have to do what I had to do. I had to fucking kill him. He's like, I had to kill someone to survive. That's like soldiers. I had a friend who was a Navy SEAL, and just, he's like, the thing that broke him was when he's like, the first time I had to kill a child. He was a sharpshooter for the Navy SEALs, and he had to fucking kill a child that was strapped with bombs on him. And he's like, I never recovered from that. He's like, I never recovered from that, ever. It haunted him. He had to have an honorable discharge because he was never the fucking same. He couldn't, his hand would shake. He couldn't even, he went from being like one of the like strongest marksmen on the planet to like trying to kill himself. And he's like, he couldn't pick up a gun again. That's because he's like, you know, he was such a sweetheart. Like growing up, we used to call him the gentle giant. He was so sweet, 6'4", blue eyes, blonde hair. He was like Archangel Michael. His name was Michael too. I mean, it's just, he was just this beautiful, beautiful creature. And talk about, you know, someone saved my life tonight. You know, he was trying to drown in the waters of Hawaii, and he was saved by a bunch of locals that were like, what are you doing over here? And like, you're not even supposed to be over here. And but they saved him. They saved his soul. And as far as I know, he's still out there. You know, he needed it. But when he was telling me like all the things that he did, he's like, I'll never forget that mission, and I will never forget having to lock eyes with a child and fucking shoot him. And all he was just a 10-year-old boy thinking he's fighting the good fight, you know, and fucking Afghanistan. Like he's fucking, it was Iraq. I want to say it was either Iraq or Afghanistan because he was all over. So I don't remember exactly. And I don't say it like the child's life was insignificant to me. I just don't remember. It was a really long time ago. But, you know, it's like, this world's a weird fucking place. You know, we're all just trying to figure it out. And, you know, they thought by controlling us and controlling our witchcraft and controlling our gifts. And, you know, when I came out as a witch, my family was just like, that was it. It was okay when I was weird and I was a weird artist and I dressed weird and that was okay. But when I started like talking about that kind of stuff, then it was different. So, you know, we got a long way to go and a short time to get there. So if you guys have found yourself here, you know, it's like you're here to do something really profound and really important. And if you found yourself on this reading today, especially Christy, like, you know, you and your partner, friend, like you guys have something significant. You know, you were brought together for a reason and for a purpose. Interesting about the tower moment. Do you want to share that? Because you said you had a tower. So you moved. So when you say you moved, that's so, it's, you know what's so funny? I always go back to the question, like when people started, because I'm like, what did you ask? You asked about love. And I'm like, now we've talked about so many things. And I'm like, did you have a specific, I forget, let me see. What was your specific? What was your specific question? Oh, if I go back, I'm like, I'll just get lost. Anyway, do you have any more questions to go with this before we head out? And check out the other readings on my channel too, because they're timeless. You may find a reading from 5 years ago that'll give you your answer. I have playlists too, so you can look through the playlists. And I separated. I used to be the Moon Medium, my channel, and I changed it to the Magical Medium. Well, it was Lula's Labyrinth, then it was the Moon Medium, then it was the Magical Medium, and then I started a new channel for Lula's Labyrinth where I do like acting and singing, and that's my avatar side. But it's also like I like to bring people joy and happiness, and I like to perform and create things. Because I've been doing this for 3 hours and almost 20 minutes, and I'm exhausted. I must move on. But I'm always happy to have any wrap up questions, or if there was anything that we didn't say that you want to ask. And thank you to everybody else who was here, and thank you for those of you who came by. Thank you for the likes. Oh, so you moved from North Carolina thinking I was going to be in a healthy relationship, but my past person abandoned me and left me homeless. Oh my gosh. Whoo, girl, sadly, I've been there. I have been in that situation. I moved to be with who I thought was the love of my life. And the irony is they ended up in jail. They told me they were clean, but it was all meant to be, because they told me that they were clean. And so we were going to have a fresh start together. I'd moved to Portland, Oregon from Chicago. We met in Chicago, and then we were living together in Kansas. And then I moved to Portland because that's where we had gone there on vacation, and he wanted to live there. And so I was like, I didn't want to live in Colorado. He ended up moving. We broke up because he needed to get clean. And then he moved to Colorado, and he said he got clean and all that, but he ended up not being clean. But I ended up meeting my partner now, and my partner now is from this area. Like, I would have never met him if I didn't come here. And he's never been, east of Oregon or Washington. I think he's been to Nevada. I think that's the furthest east he's ever been. So anyway, so sometimes people, like I said, they're placeholders, or people are put into our life to, and if I didn't move there for him, I wouldn't have met my partner now. And I've done that for people too. My ex-husband, my first husband, he was from England, and we met when I was living in LA, and he wanted to live in Chicago, but I was from Chicago, and I was like, let's move to London. Like, we had dual citizenship. And I was like, why wouldn't we? I'm like, or let's go live somewhere in Europe. And long story short, he pushed me into moving to Chicago, and we moved to Chicago. We ended up breaking up 8 months after we moved there, and he ended up marrying a woman who went to my rival high school. I mean, what are the fucking odds? You know what I mean, right? But and he probably would have, I don't know if he would have gone to Chicago on his own or not, but the funny thing is that when he broke up with me, I ended up meeting the guy who I thought was my love of my life, who I ended up moving to Portland for, who I ended up marrying. Well, he was the love of my life at the time, but I ended up moving to Portland, and then I met my partner now, so it's like you got to follow the breadcrumbs. Okay. So you said, you moved from North Carolina thinking I was going to be in a healthy relationship, but my past person abandoned me and left me homeless. I moved from Florida, and that's how I met. Oh, that's how you met your friend now. And I got a job as peer support counselor, and my friend is who I first meet there. Okay. So yeah. So you went through all of that, right? But then you ended up meeting this person, your coworkers, and now I'm managing a women's shelter. Okay, that's right. Oh, I was going to talk about this earlier. Thank you for bringing that up again. So if you want to put anything about your women's shelter or if you have any links for any support groups, you guys, as long as you subscribe to the channel, you can write in on my channel. There's a button that says community or my community or the community. If you click on that, you can actually post. I gave you permission. You can only post if you're a subscriber though. And I did that to keep out any looky-loos or like random people who just want to fucking, like, you know, what's the word, market themselves, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you're a spiritual person or something like this where you're like you actually are doing something to support the community, the spiritual community, or just humanity on the whole. Please put your information below, or put your information on the community page so that we know. Or if you're a reader or a Reiki or something, and you want to put your services on there, I'm always there. I'm always happy to help. To promote your work, right? Because we walk the old way. So I only make money if, if people work with me. Yeah. So yes, definitely feel free to post, because I think it's really important for us. That's how we connect too. That's how our communities connect. That's how we connect to each other. That's how we help each other. There could be somebody right now who's going through an abusive situation that could benefit from your shelter, you know? You just never know. Or maybe your shelter will know of another shelter where they live in their country or their state or their town, or, all of the above. You know what I mean? Like, so we are here as a community, always feel free to share anything on my channel. Most of the things on here you can share. The only thing I limit is that I don't allow people to remake my stuff. So like, you can't take my videos or my pictures or my readings and then use them for your, and then over, you know what I mean? Like do a voiceover or anything like that. I do that just because I don't know. I don't want my shit ending up on somebody's, you know what I mean? Like that isn't walking the walk or isn't in our, I don't want somebody exploiting the work I do or this channel or anybody, the work that any of us do on this channel for their own personal gain or benefit. So I'm very mindful of that. But other than that, I really want you guys to share and look out for each other and talk. And so, you'll see too. So we have a lot of tribe members that you'll see on here all the time. But when we go live on Sundays, you'll see Anna and Jessica. Jessica was on here earlier. There's certain anchors. So, you may be a new anchor as well. Anyway, did we answer your last question, or did you have anything else? Or are we good? What part of France are you from? I loved France. I loved Paris so much that I cried when I left. I know I lived in Paris before. Like I fucking know it. Like it's like the first time I went to LA and I knew where things were and I'd never been there before. It was the same thing with Paris. And Paris was my last stop. When I went to Europe, I traveled, one of my really good friends that I grew up with. Well, I didn't grow up with her, but kind of technically. I met her in person when I was working in LA, and she was traveling from Belgium. But we were 23 when we met. We were like babies, So I was thinking it was literally 30 years ago. So we kind of grew up together. And the only reason why I stopped talking to them was because the more spiritual I got, the more they weren't. And I had to let certain people go. And recently one of our mutual friends came on here, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was so excited to know they were here, and I wanted to ask about them so bad because I miss them so much. I miss all my friends and family, but a lot of people I had to stop talking to because, if you're not aligning in the same spiritual path, sometimes you do have to just let people go. Sometimes they'll support you and sometimes they won't. But anyway, so I went to Belgium first, and then we traveled all over Belgium. And then I went to the Netherlands, and then I went to France. And I wanted to end in Paris because she's like, oh, I hate Paris. And I was like, how can you hate Paris? And she's like, you're not from here. You don't understand. And I was like, but I have to tell you, I still don't understand, because Paris is like one of the most magical places I've ever been. And I've traveled to many countries, and I've been to 35 of our 50, states, 50 plus states in America, and all the countries that I've been to. And I've been to third world countries, And there is just something magical about Paris. There's definitely a history there, but there's something really, really magical. There's just such a underlying feeling of love and just like a slower pace. And I don't know, I just loved France. And then I didn't get to travel too far outside of Paris, but I did travel to a few like suburbs of Paris because I had to go to Père Lachaise. I had to go. I had to. I was so drawn. It was funny. I only had so much time left on my trip. And so I either could go to the Père Lachaise cemetery or I can go to, shit. Why can't I think of it now? What's the old castle, Louis the 14th? No, that's the Louvre. Fuck. It's going to come to me. Anyway, thank you, Christy. And thank you to everybody who was here today. Anyway, basically I was going to say that I could either go to like one of the biggest tourist places in Paris, or I can go to the Père Lachaise cemetery. And I chose to go to the cemetery. And I remember people were like, "You're so morbid." I go, "No, I was like on a mission, but I didn't know at the time." This was before my awakening. This was like 20 years ago. And I had no idea then, like why spirit was drawing me to do that. But it was really powerful because I visited all these cemeteries and old cathedrals, and I went into the oldest church on record. And it was like in a cave and shit. Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, there's just so much history. America, it's such a new country, so we don't have the same kind of history that that these older, countries have that have been around for centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries. It's like you can't even describe the energy. It's so fucking different. Now I'm excited to travel more outside the US because I haven't traveled outside the US since I came into my gifts like 10 years ago. Well, I've always had them, but I'm saying like until I started like really studying them and coming into them. But it's just so interesting that when you're in historical places, as an empath too, and a telepathic medium, it makes so much sense now why I had the run-ins that I had and the situations that I had. But anyway, we are good. We are good. We are good. Thank you all for being here today. 3 hours and three and a half hours. Woo! I hope this helped you all in any way. We had a lot of fun here today. We learned a lot. Thank you to Christy. Thank you to Jessica. And thank you to the rest of you who have been here today that were holding space. Even if you came on for a second or a minute, you are welcome. And you're welcome to come back every Sunday at noon Pacific Standard Time, United States time. Feel free to come here, and sometimes we get to ask questions of spirit, and sometimes we just are working with spirit. So I never know. Every week is different, and that's part of my job and my path and my purpose is to just go with the flow. So I go with the flow when I'm meant to. And if any of you would like to work with me one-on-one, or if you'd like to get a recorded reading, if you'd like some more in-depth information, I work on a sliding scale. My basic rate is $125 an hour, but I work on a sliding scale. I never turn people away for spirit work ever. And recorded readings are really inexpensive. I think I was charging $85 for those, but again, it's by donation basis. So if you're like needing more in-depth information or on any of the readings I do, whether on Sacred Sunday or the Picker readings or the moon readings that we do every month, if the recorded readings I like because it's still me, but it's not like this where it's like live and like we're like you ask a question and blah blah. Instead, like you send me your questions, or I just tell you what spirit wants you to know. And sometimes they're 20 minutes, sometimes they're hours, and it's the same rate. So, I'm a messenger. That's my job. I'm an earth angel. So I'm just here to help other light workers to find their path and their purpose, and to help them get home safely and to do their purpose and their path here. That is part of my work. I'm an old ancestor energy. And if you found yourself here, most likely you are too. So remember, love is love, and we love you, LGBTQ community. It's because of you, and it's because of your strength and your adversity, your strength through adversity, that you have pushed your way out of the closets and through the windows and the doors of all that will hear you. And you are always welcome here. I love you for you. Love will win. It does win. And love is love no matter what it is. So with that being said, take really good care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you at the next reading. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Love you, and welcome to the new people. Welcome, Christy. We love you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.